I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
We're exporting a whole lot of really bad and dangerous rhetoric, bad research, and unfortunately it's being picked up and amplified in other countries.
It's the same battle, Mr. Myers. We've been at it before. They want to addict these kids, this time to an e-cigarette, which has a chemical that's addictive. We know what it leads to. Sadly, it leads to tobacco addiction, disease, and death.
I'm going to get you addicted to nicotine. I have a customer for life. We have hundreds of cases nationwide where people have gotten sick or died using these devices.
Look what they're trying to do. All the delicious flavors of e-cigarettes are poison.
They're not people giving up smoking. They're not people that ever smoked before. Most people that vape never smoked before. Just think if your kid was doing this and winds up with an IQ 10 or 15 points lower than he or she would have had for the rest of her life.
Most people who vape are current or former smokers. Legally, e-cigarettes are tobacco products. For the addicted adult smoker who switches, there's going to likely be a reduction in risk.
Addiction is being fueled by kid-friendly flavors and kid-friendly cool marketing. It is outrageous that these companies specifically market their bad products to kids.
There is a moral panic over it.
There is a moral panic,
and they can't find anything wrong with it, so they're hell-bent to find something.
We're worried that, in fact, a lot of members of the public still think that using an e-cigarette is as harmful as smoking a cigarette. So, I mean, I have said that it would be tragic if smokers didn't quit and carried on smoking because they hadn't tried an e-cigarette, because they were worried about the safety of an e-cigarette.
The most disheartening thing is still the anti-choice rhetoric, the desire to enforce this quit or die mentality and refuse to allow individuals to reduce their risk unless they're willing to give up everything.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Well, hello. How's everybody doing? It's Friday night. I see there's people in the chat room. Howdy, people in the chat room. Costello's over on the YouTubes, and Bill Tarling is in the room, and Mark Sliss is in the room, and Bruni all the way from Australia is in the room, and Will Webb and Skip Murray and Char Owen, and there's other people. There's more than I can see how many are in the room, and you guys are not all talking. You should all be talking. But anyway, hey, it's Friday night, and we're vaping, and doomsday has passed over us for now. So we're here to celebrate the fact that doomsday didn't kill everybody, and we can still vape, and we're still Americans. Well, except for Bruni, because Bruni's not American. But anyway, so we have a good show tonight because we have a lot of shit to celebrate. I mean, Florida thing happened. Was amazing. I mean, obviously, we're kind of depressed about Chicago, but the PMTA thing, 3 million probably. I don't know how many people filed PMTAs. We're happy and proud of the effort of those people that put their asses to work and got that done. But, you know, we're going to talk about the ups and the downs and the sidewayses, and, you know, we'll get into that. But, you know, as ever, my friend and cohort in crime, Kevin, is with us. So let's bring Kevin in. Say hello, Kevin. You're muted.
Hello, Kevin.
And is your correct microphone plugged in?
It is. I did it at night, like 9:15, so I could make sure I was prepared.
Okay, because I just want to make sure. Jennifer says hello. The U.S. Surgeon General is a fraud. # fire the SG. I don't have a cool shirt like that. I'm just wearing a 5-pound shirt.
I got one of these too. Just so you know.
Don't be an asshole.
What's going on?
Same shit, different Friday.
You got the new toe lady coming.
Living on Twitter, and obviously we're very excited as always to have a wonderful guest. And you know, we talked about this kind of in passing a couple shows ago. How I have to say, that I don't know of any other industry that has, well, I shouldn't say that because that sounds demeaning, but we have some of the most amazing women in vaping. I mean, if you think about it, I was going through our guest list. We've had more female leaders on this show than male leaders on the show. The best and most powerful voices that we've got. I mean, Julie Wassner, Dr. Glover is a wonderful, beautiful woman. Amanda Wheeler, who will be on in just a minute, is here. Chara Owen in the chat room is a wonderful, awesome woman. Jennifer is not on the show tonight, but Jennifer's been on the show, and she's an amazing woman too, and very outspoken and proud to be a vaping advocate. So
I even heard
we're not all flat bill cap wearing neck beards, is what I'm trying to get at. And Amanda's a perfect example of that soccer mom vibe. So I mean, she makes us look good. She makes us definitely
not a Karen. Let's clarify.
Not appear to be just a bunch of like dudes.
Not a Karen.
So, but before we make her blush anymore, because I can see her face like in the backstage, and she is busting a gut laughing. So there she is.
Hi. Well, that was funny to be in the room, but kind of not able to comment. Thank you, Kevin, for defending the fact that I'm not a Karen. I love the soccer mom thing because I do drive my children around. So I'll accept it.
Well, I just, that's a perfect image, though. I mean, that your image negates the pave moms.
Well, and to be very honest, it's sort of on purpose. Anybody that's ever seen me in my downtime, how I look versus how when I'm in advocacy mode, they're very different presentations. You present yourself for the audience that you want to hear your message. You present yourself in a way that they'll listen to you.
And I actually, for the cover art for the show, I stole a picture off of Facebook of you. And
I saw that.
I tried to find the one that was not the kids at the beach or the swimming pool, and that Jordan wasn't blocking half of your face. And I found a very lovely picture of you. It looked like at a political function. I don't know who the other dude in the picture was with you, but I try to make everybody look good. Bill wants to know why I made Kevin and I look so young. And I didn't. That's probably the only picture that Kevin has that's available on social media that was usable. So, first we'll talk about all the good stuff that happened this week.
Oh man, this has been a fantastic week for vape. Like what was supposed to be our doomsday week that we've all been dreading and, hustling to try to get pushed off into the future and, just massive fear. It's turned out to be an incredible week. So many
other than Chicago, I haven't found anything negative. Well, and that politician that I can never say his name right is still pushing for he's got his new bill to open up transparency at the FDA. But I was with Nick. Was it yesterday or the day before that we did the live stream? We did a live stream for Florida the day after the morning or the afternoon after the letter was released by Governor DeSantis, and that letter was amazing.
Yeah.
That letter had and I read it on the show. I'm not going to go and read the whole letter again on this show, but it was just like he took every talking point that we hit him with on Twitter and that the lobbyists hit him with in Florida. I don't know what's the capital of Florida. Is it Tallahassee?
I should know this, but I don't. I feel like it's Tallahassee. I feel like it's not
the lobbyists.
Cool cities. It's like one of the lesser known ones.
Yeah, the whatever city that it's like they whispered in his ear and he just wrote down every one of our talking points. That letter should be in the toolbox of every state trade group going forward, so that when you go to your state capital, you can say, this is what the governor of Florida said. And he did his homework. Jennifer in the chat room says, yes, it is indeed Tallahassee. I do remember my 5th grade geography now. At my advanced age, it's hard to believe that I can remember stuff from that far gone, but every once in a while something pops up. But yeah, I mean, I'm just so, and the Florida Smoke Free people just, I don't know if it's even over, but they had their thank you Governor DeSantis rally online, and I had made a little sign for myself for everybody. I mean, I still think that everybody that vapes, whether you're in Florida or not, should be making a little sign like this and taking a selfie and getting on Twitter and tweeting at Governor DeSantis, telling him thank you for that veto. And thank you for that damn letter, because that letter is amazing.
Oh man, absolutely. That was fantastic. You know, it's so funny. If you look at governors' reactions to vaping around the country, it tells a very interesting story, because so we have, you know, Governor DeSantis, who is, you know, a hero right now for that he put out.
I saw something from one of the governors of Colorado, or the governor of Colorado, on Twitter today as well.
Well, so I retweeted a very old tweet from Governor Polis that is very appropriate to our struggle with PMTA this week. But just fair warning, his position has changed a little bit since then. Patrick, you want to throw that up on the screen so people see what we're talking about?
Well, I'm gonna have to take 1 second. Because I'm old.
Worth seeing instead of hearing me tell you what it said. It's worth
well, seeing. I mean, we're going to read it out loud anyway, because you know, we do like to, anything that we throw on screen, read, so that the people that are listening on the podcast later can understand what the hell we're talking about. But yeah, here it is. I found it. I got it. And let me hit the share screen button and make sure that I'm clicking all the right stuff. And I've rubbed it so that it's nice and readable. And yeah, this is from you. It says, I've got to say I agree with Governor Polis's 2018 views on vaping. And if you click on that, it says the U.S. FDA should get out of the way of technologies for harm reduction that improve health and help people quit. And he's actually retweeting a story from September 29th of 2018 from the Cato Institute with the headline, the FDA does not want, or that's not the headline. It just says the FDA does not want people to smoke, but the FDA does not want people to use smoking alternatives that could help them quit. Actually, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that Governor Polis, who's a very Democrat governor, in 2018, he was of a mind to take that position on it, and even tweeting at the FDA on, you know, not our behalf, but certainly in a way that we would be very happy about. And, you know, the change between then and now has been dramatic. Now Polis is out there leading the charge to tax us and ban flavors in Colorado and all of that. And so it's really wonderful to see, you know, Governor DeSantis stand up for vape in such a big way and defend so many small business owners in Florida. The Florida vape market's huge. You know, there are a lot of livelihoods that depended on that decision, a lot of vapors that depended on that to, you know, stay off cigarettes and whatnot. So it was very impactful. And I think it's going to resonate around the country, because, you know, governors have been weighing in on this topic. And you know, as we've seen, you know, how governors feel about us is fairly important.
Yeah. I believe this is the first show that we've done after the rally, Kevin?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe this. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, the rally thing happened, and Kevin and Paul and I live streamed the entire thing that we could scratch up on the internet, and we broadcast it so that everybody could see it. And the amazing speakers that were there this time were just, I mean, the first rally and this rally both had a lot of amazing people. I mean, Tim came all the way from Australia to speak at that. You know, Paul's letter from Australia made its way there, and Sherwin read it. You know, and everybody, and, you know, Phil and Dimitri, full of passion, you know. Sure, You know, and a lot of I've seen a lot of comments on social media. Well, there was only a couple hundred people there, and blah blah blah. Well, you got to realize we're still in the middle of a fucking pandemic.
There's a little bit going on right now, guys.
Yeah, and then the other people that weren't afraid of going because of the pandemic were also at home finishing their PMTA submissions. So. Yeah, there was a lot of shit going on. So of course, and I believe anybody with more than one or two brain cells to rub together realized that there wasn't going to be as many people there at the event because of all the other shit that we're going through. But I do want to say I am quite confident in my mathematics and my numbers because I know how many people watched it on our streams. And I talked to Sherwin and I gave him the numbers of the people that watched it on our streams and the numbers of the people that watched it on his streams. And about 25,000 people watched some of that event. You know, the algorithms are kind of hinky on how they measure what is a view and what isn't a view. And one platform may count it as if you watch it for 3 seconds, that might count it as a view, and others might count it as you have to watch 3 minutes or whatever. But 25,000 people is a lot of people to watch that. And it was 4 hours long. So, I feel like people, and I'm good. I already warned you that I have to be devil's advocate tonight, but people need to realize that everything that we need to find the positivity in everything that we're looking at is what I should be saying.
Definitely.
And that was a powerful thing. I mean, if you got up there and Demetrius doesn't get that type of emotional frequently, but he was up there talking about his father dying.
Yeah.
And he got emotional. Like you could tell he was speaking from the heart. James was there and James did not cry this time.
Absolutely right. That's exactly right.
But every other time that James speaks, James does bawl like a little girl. But, it is what it is. We're here. We're still here. I've been saying from the beginning, we're not going anywhere. It's right on the fucking Facebook banner. We're not going anywhere. So, I just think everybody needs to stop. And then, the PMTA and the PMTA thing happened. And then literally the next morning, I'm getting messages from people saying, oh, I just saw a Facebook post about somebody gathering the names of all the people that submitted PMTAs and registering for websites. And I found 3 different fucking vulture websites out there that are already soliciting people to give them their fucking PMTA information so that they can compile a list. Now, why in the hell? First of all, FDA already said we're going to be publishing a fucking list, and they didn't say fucking, but we're going to be publishing a list of the people that submit PMTAs. So why in the hell would we even need 3 different shady groups out there publishing a list when the fucking government is going to do it? Why do we want somebody else? Why would we even ask somebody else to do it for us? That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But there are shysters and charlatans and con artists out there that are going to try to capitalize on this.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I don't know if the goal is to data mine and build up some kind of email list that can be sold, or if it's to get companies to pay to be put on these websites. But all I know is one of them that I saw put out a press release, and anybody that has dealt with that sort of thing knows that press releases are not cheap. And so there was some money put into promoting that, and there was some money put into building that website. And what was the goal in investing money to build that out and promote it? And it certainly looks fishy when you can't even see anything that's on that website without putting all of your information in. It's a little questionable.
I did a little backdooring, and I know that Bill Tarling did a little backdooring, and we found 2 registered addresses, one in Florida and one in Arizona. The actual actual server itself is in Scottsdale, Arizona somewhere.
Interesting.
And the mailing address for the actual contact person is in Dunedin, Florida. So the actual domain is registered anonymously, or it's blocked so that you can't actually see who registered the domain. So it's kind of hinky to me. If it was a legit thing, why in the hell are they hiding who they are?
Yeah.
So I just suggest anybody that's in the industry that's listening to this show, don't fall for that. And B, why? The FDA is gonna release a list. Why?
Well, and here's the thing, and this might be a controversial statement I'm about to make, and I don't usually like to make controversial statements, but I'll make one. And I'm saying this as the person
now nose up, tits up wasn't controversial enough, or tits out wasn't controversial enough.
Well, that was just amusing and sassy, and hopefully charming on some level. But and now you have me all distracted because now you embarrass me, Patrick. All right. So what I was gonna say is, like, I know I've been a part of leading this effort to get people to this point of doing PMTA. But here's my controversial opinion. Let's not just dump all over our colleagues that didn't have the resources or the ability to do this. I mean, there are so many of us in this industry with varying levels of resources and skills that are available to us. Like, let's not throw our fallen colleagues under the bus because they didn't have the resources or the distance to do this and to go the distance on it. And that's kind of my take on it, right? I don't think it's time for us to do tobacco-free kids' job for them. That's their job, not ours.
Kevin and I have been flying the pirate flag for a long time. We're the last people that are going to be snitching on people because I have lots of friends in the industry. Some went through the process of filing. Some didn't. I mean, hell, we had Jay Love on the show, and Five Pond said that they're not filing a PMTA.
You see Jennifer's comment?
Yeah. Well,
what if it's tobacco?
Yeah. What if it is tobacco-free kids in PAVE? What if it is? We don't know. And why in the fuck would we even? I just don't understand the purpose of it. I mean, maybe it's because I feel like people. I'm with Amanda that who in this industry would want to shit on their friends. I mean, here's the deal, and this is what I've always said. You go to vape events, you go to these fucking conventions where the big guys, the little guys, the medium-sized guys are there, and everybody's friends, right? Everybody's having a good time. You compete in the marketplace. You don't compete we're not in this to kill each other. Like, I shouldn't say we, because neither Kevin nor I are in the industry in any way, shape, or form other than like being loud voices in the industry. But yeah, I mean, really and truly, this is why you don't have to. There's 48 million people in the United States that still smoke. That's your clientele.
Exactly. And I mean, look who else is pushing. Look at this Krishnamurthy today. And look what's about.
That's the guy. That's the name I can't say that I referred
to. And he's pushing for this list. And then you've got tobacco-free kids quoted in the press release about how great this whole bill is. Like, look at who is promoting this. Like, do we really want to jump on that bandwagon of bashing companies simply because they're small? I don't think that's who we are, and I don't think that's who we ought to be.
Well, let's put it this way. Demetrius already let the cat out of the bag on Twitter, and he talked about it on his live stream today with Matt Cully. There's literally nothing in the regs that prevents an e-liquid company in the United States from manufacturing their product here, putting it in boxes and sending it overseas, as long as and then opening a website that's hosted outside of the country and selling product back into the States. We already know that Chinese manufacturers are already building out retail websites to service American businesses because it's completely legal for Kevin and I to go online and order e-liquid and have it sent to us for personal use. All that does is fuck over American vape shops, and
takes money away, like you said on your tweet.
And I said it to well, Demetrius and I both said it to President Trump. All you're doing is sending American money and American jobs to China. Basically,
yeah.
So, of course, we're going to fly the pirate flag, and I'm going to do everything humanly possible to make it easy for smokers to still get product when they make the decision not to smoke anymore. That is what we're fucking here for.
Absolutely.
And if that means that I still have to bash the shit out of Azar every day and ask him where his fucking help for small businesses are, and I'm not going to let you turn me into a criminal just because I don't want to fucking die. I'm going to do that until something happens. I mean, PMTA reform is not done. And Kevin sending me private messages of my own tweets.
Shh, don't tell him.
Well, the dinging in my the dinging in my ear sort of makes me jump, and I fucking hate the new Facebook.
New Facebook sucks.
That's what everybody says.
It is literally laggy and slow, and when I've already clicked on something. I'm waiting for the private message to open, and it still hasn't opened. And I clicked on the tweet, and here it comes. And it's here it is.
I'm going to disagree with you though. It takes millions of dollars away and sends it to China. It also gives people that want to quit smoking in the future no choices if they don't know where to go.
Yeah. So, I put here forcing the vape industry, which is a square peg, into FDA's PMTA, big tobacco protecting process, a round hole, will send millions of US dollars to China. Regulations should ensure safety of products, not give a monopoly to our trade rivals, and shutter US businesses. That's Donald Trump.
Great point, Patrick. That's
restriction of trade. Restriction of trade. RICO Act. It's all kinds of shit.
I mean, literally, that is what the FDA process is doing, is actually shutting American businesses and sending commerce outside of the country. There should be an actual law against the government making that happen. Right. Literally, that's what this is doing, is forcing American businesses to do business outside of the country, or American consumers to buy product outside of the country.
It's called
that they could be buying here. Kevin's got a fancy word for it: restraint of trade.
Restraint of trade.
So
that's what it is. Period.
It's ridiculous, and I'm kind of mad because that tweet only got 27 retweets. Kind of hurts my feelings.
Everybody in the chat, go retweet Patrick's tweet because it was a killer point and he needs more attention on it.
I'm an attention whore.
Just a minute, and I'll make it easier. I'll put it in the chat.
It sort of hurts my feelings.
It's
Demetrius actually said the same thing in another tweet, like the day after this one, I'm not sure with the timing. I'll tell you the truth, but seriously, this PMTA thing is designed specifically to protect big tobacco.
Same day.
Yeah. So, and all it's doing is sending American dollars overseas, because hardware, you're still going to be able to order hardware online and have it shipped in. And that fucks over the small mom and pop shops or the medium sized shops, every fucking shop.
Right.
That people will be able to still order these things from overseas, pay a little bit extra in shipping, and cut out the vape shop. Where people convert. Well, some shops convert. So, yeah. So, Amanda,
yes.
Do you have any idea how many PMTAs have been filed?
I can only speak to the people that were filing under our small business proposal in Char's PMTA sharing group. But I want to say the total number of companies, and this isn't SKUs or applications, but the total number of companies was about 230 that we had done through what we had set up.
Right. And I know that
a lot of outside efforts outside of that other PMTA things going on.
And I know that I read a tweet from James Jarvis that there was like 900 or something in his group that or in his packet that his wife put together. I know that he didn't do it. His wife did all the work. Because
Jerry,
she's an amazing woman. I don't know why they're married, to tell you the truth. But anyway,
he was pretty amazing himself. Give him some credit.
I'm trying to make him cry. So how many did you file?
Me? Okay, so we filed on 1,992 SKUs. Yeah. Well,
and I know that. Okay, now, is there an average number of pages per SKU?
Well, that's a little bit tricky because
he put a number in his, and I'm just trying to do the math in my head.
So there were a lot of documents in that group that were common to all the applications, and then there were some that were SKU product specific that changed for every application.
Right.
And so people in that group, it basically broke down into two different camps on thinking of how to organize all of that. You had some people that filed PMTAs with every single document in all of the PMTAs. And that's how you ended up with people that had millions and millions and millions of pages. Like, I don't know on our PMTA how many pages it was. I know it was about like 2.13 gigabytes, which I don't know anything about tech, so I have no frame.
That's a lot of pages.
But that's how big ours was, and we weren't doing the duplication method. So some people, like, we had all the studies and the literature review and all of that we turned in, and that was a lot of pages. And I know some people provided those for every single product they were submitting on. The way that we did ours, we just filed all
these pages in this application
documents, and then we filed the unique document. So we didn't send in 1,992 sets of all of those papers. We sent in one set of those and 1,992 sets of the product specific papers. That's how we did it. But there was a lot of different thinking on that. So people did it differently.
So, okay. So Scott Weber in the chat room says that, and he actually is from where I went to college, or one of the colleges. I went to Allegheny College in Cumberland, Maryland. And he said that they filed 10,421 PMTAs.
Yeah, a lot of people filed a lot of SKUs.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of SKUs. I mean, how many flavors do you have in the J Vapes catalog?
98.
98 flavors.
We've been in business for a long time. There was a lot of juice making before 2016 when we used to be able to do new cool things.
I know, but like, I've vaped like 5 of your tobaccos because Kevin and I are both like tobacco guys, and we're mutants in the vaping world, I guess, because we like tobaccos.
Hey, there's a lot of our tobacco flavors. I vape all the time. I'm not a tobacco person, but it's like a butterscotch tobacco, and it just tastes really good.
I have that butterscotch tobacco over there.
Oh, nice.
The pursuit of something.
Sadness. We have the pursuit of happiness and the pursuit of sadness.
The strawberry one and the butterscotch one are both good.
Yeah. Very good. So we have 98 flavors, and then so we do 90 of those flavors are available in 2 different PG-VG ratios, right? They're all available in 3 different bottle sizes, 5 different nicotine strengths. So when you put all of those combinations together, we had like 2,000. I want to say we had 2,100 in some, and we cut some of them when we were filing. We did cut some of those because they just aren't selling very well. It was a pain in the ass trying to dig up 2016 proof on some of them. And so some of them, like, we made strategic decisions not to file them, but we filed the vast majority of our stuff.
Yeah. So Tom Morowitz asked a question. This is a I hope not. I mean, obviously, because I'm trying to be environmentally sound here. He said, did anyone send in paper? Laugh out loud.
I saw some people that did.
I know that there were people that did, but if we're talking about James Jarvis's PMTA batch, I think he said that it was one batch was 6 million pages, and another batch was 3 million pages. That's 9 million pages. That's like a whole forest.
Oh yeah. I saw somebody, they were doing calculations on the length of theirs. If you like stacked all the pages up, how far it
how many stories tall it would be or whatever.
It was just insane. It was insane. And so, what we were doing in the PMTA sharing group, it wasn't with the explicit purpose to be a nuisance, right? It wasn't to just file all of this stuff to be a nuisance. It was us trying our best to file as full of applications as we could to get the filings accepted. And so it wasn't an attempt just to harass the FDA, but I find it amusing, but that was not the intention.
Well, I mean, obviously, since they said they were only going to get 25 applications, I mean, anything more than 25 would be a nuisance to them because it makes them look bad. It makes all of their, I mean, we've talked about it multiple times here. The day after the initial language of the deeming was released in 2014, they released a 76-page document called the Financial Impact Analysis. And in that financial impact analysis, they broke down and they said in there, this is how much we think the PMTAs are going to cost. And we only expect 25 or so applications. So that makes them look bad because and they revised it in 16 and it basically said the same damn thing. They still in 2016 only expected 25 applications. So when product registration was happening and they were getting, how many millions of things, the products added to the FURL's website or program, I'm sure that somebody was standing by scratching their chin going, well, we look like a bunch of dumbasses.
It's not uncommon.
They are a government agency. So,
I have examples. I have a list.
Yeah. We don't expect any of these companies to even attempt it. So now we get into the.
Can I kind of speak on that for a second?
Sure.
I don't think that was on purpose. I think that there has been an effort that's been going on for quite a while to discourage people from even trying.
And intimidate.
Right. It was an intimidation campaign to prevent us from even trying. And it worked for the longest time. Up until about a year ago, Shar and I both started off on kind of separate tracks with this. And then at some point we kind of converged and started working together. But I think independently of each other, it was funny. Both in June of 2019, we both decided, hey, we're going to try to do something about this, and I think, there have been a lot of people involved in the effort to do something about it. And I think what it did is it gave people hope that it's possible, and we put so much work into lobbying to lay the groundwork to get these accepted. And Shar put so much work into building out the program so that people would be able to run all of these documents correctly. Azim spent so much time building the basis of the documents for the programs that Shar and her husband Carl created. And then you had Lindsay Stroud and her boyfriend Tom come along. And it was just this big collective effort to help all of these people. And it made the process a lot less intimidating. And my takeaway from this whole thing is, why did we let people intimidate us for so long? I wish we would have gotten started on this years ago, because I think we believed that it was an impossible task, right? And there's still a lot ahead. Not to be Pollyannish about this at all. We have a lot more work to do on this. But after experiencing what we just went through with getting all of these companies to complete these documents, I don't know why we allowed ourselves to believe that we weren't capable of this, because I think we've shown that we're capable of a lot. We are an industry that is professional and that can work together and that can be organized and can get things done.
That's why we're still here.
That's why we're not going anywhere.
That's why we're still here.
I have to be a little bit hinky on this because I've heard, okay, so there are plenty of people in this industry that I know and respect.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've heard, because I haven't been to the FDA, so I don't personally have any experience of going in there and talking to these people, but, you've been there and,
right.
had meetings with people, and other people have gone and had meetings with people and come back, and I hear two different responses, two different formats even for responses from these people, from the same people. You know, when I hear that, you know, somebody got in writing from their meeting with the FDA a letter basically saying we will not accept any incomplete applications, period, in like black and white. And then, you know, obviously there's a lot of hinky language coming out of FDA because they're saying, well, you know, this is our draft guidance. We're trying to help you. This is the information we're giving you, blah, 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 blah. Here it is. This is the same shit that we've been saying for 4 or 5 years now, but we're going to repackage it and say it again and make it seem like it's something new. But there was something in one of their tweets or in one of their documents that basically said, you know, we're going to use our enforcement discretion when we get applications that seem mostly okay, but might be missing some stuff. We're going to send out deficiency letters and give people 90 days to correct their deficiencies.
Right.
You know, so first we heard we're not going to accept anything that's not complete. And then they specifically sent out information that said, well, if it's mostly complete, but it's only lacking a few things, then we'll send a letter saying, you know, this is what's missing. Please send this in 90 days. So I don't even think they know what the fuck they're doing, to tell you the truth.
Well, it's interesting. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I would love to present it as if I'm just this like one woman superhero that can just walk into HHS and walk into White House meetings and walk into dinners with senators. I am not, right?
We're going to get you a tiara that says Wonder Woman on it.
That like, I don't like, magicians never reveal how they do things because then you lose the magic, right? I'll reveal a little bit about how I do things just to kind of
Kevin's holding up the sign.
Explain the process here. So it's not just me out there on a one-woman crusade. For well over a year, I have had 2 different lobbying firms that represent me in DC. That was a joint effort between J-Vapes, Vapor Source in Pueblo, Colorado, and then Rocky Mountain Smoke Free Alliance and Arizona Smoke Free Business Alliance. We have been working on this with 2 lobbying teams for about a year. We've also been working with Azim and Eric and their team over at Keller and Heckman on all of this. So we're not exactly walking into this as some naive little business owners. We've got some professional help, right? And so we knew from communications from HHS and people that work very close under Secretary Azar, about a couple of months ago, we were hearing that we should turn in whatever we have, as much as we have, by the deadline, and that they would work with us during the review period, right? And so that is what we've been geared up to do. And you know, we started to see communications come out from them in the week or 2 leading up to the deadline that sort of publicly verified some behind the scenes information that we had for a while, right? And so with that information, you know, we did what we did, choosing to submit the particular items that we submitted. They were all chosen very purposefully to fulfill a unique part of the PMTA requirements. They were done professionally by attorneys in the way that meet the requirements, right? And so now we're kind of at this point where we had a little bit of foreknowledge of what was going on, and we had been talking to them for about a year about, you know, making some accommodations for small businesses, taking into account that they're small business, right? And so we had some of this behind the scenes knowledge that we could file without this full suite of everything, right? And that we would have a chance through the review and deficiency notice process to offer these additional requirements. And if you've ever heard me talk about my PMTA proposal forever, testing has always been a part of it. I have always said that we have to do the testing that is in statute. There's no way to get around those statutory requirements without a literal act of Congress.
So quickly, I know that there are certain things that are in the guidance document that are not statutory. They're not listed by statute. What requirements that are on the guidance document are actually statutorily required, and which ones aren't?
Right. So we've got to do the HPHC testing or something having to do with something to satisfy that requirement. Stability testing is an issue that we have to deal with. We had to deal with the environmental assessments, but everybody that went through our process already has that requirement done. And then there's some debate about what needs to be done around like aerosolized testing and all of that.
Okay, but we've mentioned it on the show. There's a lot of like in vitro and in vivo and human trials are not listed as a statutory requirement, right?
No, that was stuff that was added in the guidance documents. All of the label comprehension studies, human clinical trials, all of that. That is not anywhere in statute. And so that is kind of the stuff that we have been trying really hard to get FDA to work with us on. And I'll tell you, it's not just the little companies in that position, right? I don't know of anybody in open vape that did a clinical trial. And I don't know what everybody did from their PMTA, but I've talked to big, small, medium, in between. I don't know of anybody that completed that full package of testing. You know, I'm sure the tobacco companies pulled it off. I have no doubt. You know, some of the more well-heeled tobacco companies were able to do that. But and please somebody, you know, inbox me if I'm wrong, because I would love to know more about this. But to the best of my knowledge, nobody in open vape that is not tobacco affiliated in some way has completed the full suite of testing.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know what are in. I mean, obviously we have an idea that I've been told that Juul's PMTA was about $20 million is what they put into their PMTA. I've heard an estimate that AES has about $15 million in theirs. I've got a source that's telling me that the Avail PMTA is about $10 million, and that Charlie's Chalk Dust they publicized that they've got about $5 million in their PMTA.
Right.
You know, we don't, RJ Reynolds and those guys, they're not telling us anything, but we already know that RJR has a $1 billion scientific facility in Geneva, Switzerland. They have 85 full-time scientists in their very Star Trek-y looking science center. And there's videos on YouTube where you can walk through. They are being interviewed, and you can see the spaceship level science that they've got going on in that fucking building. God knows what they have in their PMTAs. And we can see the IQOS PMTA because it's published. You can actually go and look at that. But we don't know what they did for their vapor product. We have no idea. I mean, it's not been released. And they have no motivation to publicly release it yet.
Right.
So, you know, once it's approved, then they might, but.
Right. And I don't know what's in Avail's PMTA or Charlie's Chalk Dust PMTA or any of those guys, but to my knowledge of the companies I talk to, you know, I don't know anybody that has completed the full package of testing that the guidance contemplates. And so I think, you know, people are at a different level with what they have, right? We have a lot of companies who very sadly and unfortunately were not able to file anything in time, either because, you know, they were tired and wanted to get out of the industry, or, you know, it was too hard, or, you know, all sorts of reasons. People had all sorts of reasons why they couldn't file anything by September. And a lot of people were still taking the position that it was an impossible task. And I know that was very discouraging. But so we've got a group of people that didn't file anything, right? We've got this very large group of people that Shar and myself and Lindsay Stroud and April Myers have been working with in the PMTA sharing group that have filed PMTAs that have, you know, everything that they needed to be filed and accepted. right? And then, but the some of the businesses in the PMTA sharing group did go the extra mile and turn in applications that contained some HPHC and stability testing. I would say that's a fraction of our group. I think most of our group is still lacking testing, but we had a few that put in testing, right? And so then that's kind of the next category of companies is we have a decent amount of companies that have put in everything with the added HPHC and stability testing, right? And then anywhere between that and the full guidance, there's a whole range of where the bigger companies are at, right? And so it's kind of like this continuum, right? And people are falling at all different points on it, right? And if you got the guy that closed his line down because he didn't want to deal with it over here, and you've got Altria over here, we're probably about right here right now. We got to get the rest of the way, right? And you know, kind of right now with our group of companies that have been working under our proposal and with Shar's and Azim's tools, we're geared up for phase 2 right now. We're geared up to start making sure all of those businesses that fall in that part of our spectrum are very organized and ready to go as a unit to explore how we're going to get further in this process, because we only got this far together. And I think that we have to stay together if we want to get further, right? And so you've got this group of businesses now. Some of them may be content with what they've turned in. A lot of people, when they began that process, they were doing it on the hopes of an extra year, you know, and so some people are probably going to choose to stop right there, you know, and I respect their decision to do that because they have lots of reasons, right? But then the majority of the companies that have been working under what Shar and I have been doing, they don't want to just have another year before FDA makes them go away. These are our businesses that we have been running for a decade that we don't take kindly to the government stepping in and trying to steal from us. And we will keep going as long as we can. And we are going to get as far into this process as we can. And what's going to happen? I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm telling you what the goal is. The goal is a marketing order, and we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop until we get there or we can't go anymore.
That's the way. I mean, obviously, the never give up, never surrender. You know, for the geeks, I know that Bill will get that reference. But yeah, I mean, the whole purpose is to be able to have an industry in the United States. I mean, we talked about it at the beginning. I already mentioned the fact that vapors are still going to be able to get shit. Period. Yeah. Whether that means whether that's in a black market, whether that's buying legal product overseas and importing it for personal use, vapors will still be able to get product. But you're never, I mean, obviously the big companies, the big tobacco companies are still going to be sold in convenience stores. And there are still going to be some people that try those products and decide they suck and go back to smoking. If we don't save this industry, if we don't figure out a way to make it possible for them to move past that first bad experience, then we're not going to ever grow. Right. So that's the thing that those smokers, you know, the 48 million people in the United States that still smoke, those are the people we're trying to get to. And if the vape shops are closed and there's nothing but those products available, mass conversion's never going to happen.
Right.
You know, somebody wrote in the chat room, Scott Weber wrote in the chat room, DIY. Yeah, I DIY.
That's great for current vapors.
That's really good for people that have already tried it and said, yes, this is going to work for me. Now let me make it for myself. But that doesn't help mom, grandmom, aunt, uncle, lifelong smokers who one day wake up and say, I don't want to die. I don't want to smoke anymore. I'm going to try something. The gas station is not going to offer enough options for everyone. There's going to be some people that like Juul. I mean, obviously they've made billions of dollars. So people are buying their product and it's helping some people. Didn't work for me. I hated that thing. So we can't forget that those smokers are those smokers that try those gas station products. And I'm still going to say that the vast majority of people that vape try those products first and then go into a vape shop and say, this thing sucks. I kind of think it would work if it was better. Show me something better. But if there's nothing for them to go to that next step, if that vape shop is not there, we're going to lose the smokers.
And then think about it. If you get approved, and when some get approved, the FDA cannot say that it's as dangerous, more dangerous, then you will have more people seeking this out. Sorry about the baby.
Logan!
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always think about, because Jordan, my husband, was a very early adopter of vaping. I think he started vaping in like 2009. And I always listen to his stories about the terrible products that were available in 2009 and all of that. And, we don't want it to go back to the situation where it's there's no options in your town and the options are on the internet are difficult and sketchy and not that great. We have a great industry here. We shouldn't let it go.
See, now Kevin and I, Kevin's vaping like he vaped in 2015, 2014. He's using an Ego with a fucking CE4 and it works for him. He's got a Nautilus that he uses. That's what he vapes. I vape the same way that I vape. I'm not one of those people that are going to dog the technology that I started with because I quit in one day with that technology.
That's a fair. It worked. It was very effective.
We converted 9 million people with that technology, and
that's amazing.
I do. I have the real numbers. I'm not going to rely on Altria's stock report to get my numbers. There is somewhere around 10 to 11-ish million users of these products in the United States. All current data available says that's all there is. Okay. Now, if you throw in the mythical 5 million kids or 4 million kids, because the report came out and they're reporting fewer youth vapors come from the youth tobacco survey. If you throw in those mythical 5 million kids, we could get to 13 million. But that's not true. It's absolutely not true. We converted 9 million people with those products. So I don't want to call them, what's the word? Deficient or not good because they worked.
Right.
The technology is better, obviously, or I wouldn't be using this fancy device. The technology is better, but if that's all there was, we still converted 9 million people with those products.
Hell yeah, that was a job well done.
I'm very, I paid $150 for my first Cigalike with a couple boxes of cartomizers and a couple bottles of e-liquid because I wanted to quit. So and it was not the best e-liquid in the world, but it was what we had. There was no vape shops. When I converted, it was a kiosk in a fucking mall and it was all Chinese crap, but it worked. So, that's that step though, is I bought a crappy product. I paid $150 for a crappy product. I got online and started looking and I found Egos. Like a month or two later, I was using a fucking Ego. So, if that is not there though, if that availability to try that crappy product is not there and there's nothing or is there, but there's nothing next. If there's nothing, no vape shop to walk into and say, you know what, I bought this thing and I really think that it would work if there's no better, if that better is gone, we're screwed.
Oh yeah.
We're screwed. So
right.
I have to ask the hard question. I have to ask, and I already asked it to you, so I already know you have an answer. So stage 2, whatever that stage 2 is, because Demetrius has got a graphic and he's showing it on the PMTA show, and he was on Matt Culley's show, and he's talking about submission, acceptance, Then there's a stage missing. He says there's a stage that everybody's ignoring that's called filing, and then substantive review. So we'll skip over the part about the filing, and we'll go right into substantive review. And they're reviewing these applications, and we already talked about the requirements, the HPHC testing and all that. And they say, okay, guys, we got your PMTA, and everything that you've submitted is good, but we're missing the HPHC, the statutory stuff that that we talked about. It's missing that. You have 90 days to supply that information to us.
Right. Well,
what situation are we in then?
Right. So, we are very aware that in the review phase, deficiency notices will be coming, right? That is absolutely what we're trying to prepare for. I haven't stopped working on this since the deadline. I was thinking like the deadline would come and I'd get some time off. No. I had a meeting yesterday with a consultant in the testing laboratory kind of space. I had a meeting with a U.S. representative. Today, I had a phone call with the United States Senate office. I was talking to people all day about the different testing possibilities. Monday, we have a meeting to talk about all this stuff. I mean, we're working very hard on this because we know that those deficiency letters are coming, and we don't know how long it's going to take for them to come. And so we're preparing for that right now, right? And
so the question is, over the years we've heard, talking points that say that there's only so many labs that can actually handle these tests. Is that true? Is that accurate that there's only a handful of places where these tests can be done?
It is. So it's not necessarily what it's limited by is the testing protocol that is being used has to be a protocol that is acceptable to the FDA, right? And we don't have that many laboratories in the United States that are familiar with how to do some of these things in a way that FDA is going to accept. Like for the longest time, there's been this big old debate about aerosolized testing. What wattage do you test it on? What device? What temperature? All this sort of thing, right? And so that's a part of the difficulty. Is it's not necessarily that there's some secret list of labs somewhere. It's just that there literally are not a lot of labs that A, have all of the supplies you need to run these tests, but B, even know how to set up the proper protocol to complete them. And then you get into an issue of capacity, right? Because given that there are not a lot of labs that know how to do this, if everybody were to descend on a limited number of labs, we're talking about a wait list of years and years and years and years and years, right? If everybody filed for all of those SKUs and took them all through testing, there's not enough laboratory bandwidth to deal with that.
Right. So the question is, though, is if they say this is what you're missing, you have 90 days to supply that. If you were to say, okay, I've already contracted with this lab to do my testing, and it's going to take 3 years, would that be sufficient enough for FDA?
I don't know about 3 years. That's a bit of an ask.
No, I
think that if people can show in good faith that they're making some kind of serious attempt to secure testing and that testing is coming, I think they're going to be reasonable, because that is the information we've gotten thus far. Because when COVID really kicked up in earnest, right? That kind of put the kibosh on things, because it was just everything in life that you needed to do was just harder to do, just because every aspect of life changed so dramatically. And laboratories have had a lot to focus on here lately, right? There's this little thing called a pandemic going on.
Is there a thing called a pandemic going on?
Yeah, there's a little pandemic going on.
I haven't heard about that.
We've got all kinds of medical stuff that FDA's got to deal with right now. We've got all kinds of medical stuff these laboratories have to deal with right now. There's a lot going on with the laboratory issue. It's not it's not it's not one problem with that. Is it expensive? Yes. Are there affordable places that exist that, depending on what your definition of affordable is? Yeah, there are affordable places that exist. Do we know right now what testing protocol people are going to accept? We don't. I know that there are people that have found affordable testing that, they're not so sure about the protocol on it. I know people that have worked really hard on their protocol that feel really good about it and have been able to make it affordable, but they have a humongous waiting list. I mean, it's really a complicated subject, and it's a subject that Shar, Azim, myself, a few other kind of key people involved in this, that we're actively looking for a good solution for people on, because we don't want to just say, oh, hey, we turned in a PMTA to inconvenience the FDA and now we're rejected, right? That's not what it is. We're turning in these PMTAs. We want to go the distance. We want to enter into this process with FDA and work with them in a way that we can.
So this is a out of left field, but has anybody, I mean, I have never been to the FDA. Has anybody gone to the FDA and said, we do these tests for these products for TPD compliance in the EU? Would those protocols and those tests be acceptable for FDA? Because there are a lot of companies that do business overseas that already have a lot of testing for their, EU and TPD compliant brands.
Right. And I know it was not necessarily recommended by the FDA, but recommended by people in the industry that know a thing or two about this. And I've never done TPD. I know very little about that process, so I'm probably not the best person to answer this.
I know that it's cheaper.
I know that. I know that it's significantly cheaper.
That's about all I know, but I'm just wondering,
this process that's designed to put you out of business. But people that do understand TPD did recommend to folks that had TPD testing to include that in their PMTA submissions, because it did have some HPHC information in it. I don't know how much, because like I said, I've never done it. I don't know about it. But I know that there was some stuff in there that people that do understand this felt would be helpful.
And the other question is, I mean, if there's only so many labs in the United States that could do this, I mean, obviously some of those products that are manufactured in Europe are sold here. Some of those labs have to be able to do FDA testing.
Oh, there's a lot of labs in Europe doing FDA testing for people.
So yeah,
people are using those labs because overseas labs have substantially better pricing than a lot of these in the United States.
Well, that's, when we, Dr. Varsalinos goes and talks about doing studies over there in Greece for us is because it's much more cost effective for him to do research over there than it is to get American scientists. Cause we got American scientists want to get paid top dollar.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I wanted to make sure to ask the questions that I had in my head, because I've been confused because I've heard, different things and about what the process was going to be and stuff. And actually, I still don't know, but at least I'm getting your thoughts on it, because, Demetrius did a whole show like 2 weeks ago, going through the step-by-step process. And, I still think there's a lot of the stuff that's not clear to me. And I've been here 10 years. Obviously, I'm not in the industry, but there's a lot of people that are consumers that are confused about what the hell is going to happen. And obviously, I'm not worried about myself because, like I said, I can get product. I know people. I can make my own stuff. But those smokers are the ones that I'm caring about. We had Jay Love on the show from Five Ponds, and he was talking about Five Ponds isn't going to do PMTAs because he talked to his lawyers and his lab people and his stuff, and they said that there's no way we're going to be able to do all this. So let's look at other options. So, he was on the show and announced that they're going to be converting all of their e-liquid to synthetic nicotine. And there was a story today that Hang Seng in China is pairing up with Geek Vape to produce an entire synthetic nicotine pod system that they're going to be releasing because they believe that synthetic nicotine is not going to be captured. So, obviously that's a whole nother can of worms, because I remember a phone conversation the day after the deeming when Zeller was and it's on YouTube, and he said in that thing, we're fully planned and prepared to capture synthetic nicotine into our regulatory process. I don't know if they've ever stepped outside of other than making that initial comment, but that seems, if somebody's going to go that way, I guess they're prepared to challenge FDA's authority to regulate synthetic nicotine.
This is an open question I've had for a very long time, because yes, FDA has specifically commented on this topic, right?
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
favorably, right? As you just referenced. And it's that to me is a very interesting question that I think is only going to be resolved through a legal challenge if FDA chooses to push the issue. And frankly, it's one that I wouldn't want to foot the bill for, but I would be very interested in seeing the outcome of.
Well, I mean, that would be a game changer.
I
would completely. I mean, if synthetic, if Five Ponds comes out with their synthetic nicotine, or any other company in the United States releases their product in a synthetic nicotine line, and then FDA says, "Oh no, we're gonna fucking close you down" or whatever, and then they go to court and win, that fucking just changes everything.
Right.
Unless it becomes a drug device.
Well, that's the only way it becomes a drug device is when you start making marketing claims about treating addiction, or if you're making medical claims, then they can capture you regardless of what your desire is. But if you're not making those claims, if you're not making a medical claim, the Judge Leon said, if they're not making medical claims, you can't capture them unless they start making medical claims. So, that's case law. That's already done. The Satara decision has already happened. And he said, he didn't say you can regulate this as a tobacco product. He says you can try. That's one of the things that people don't remember correctly in their head. He didn't say you have the authority to regulate this as tobacco. He says you can try to regulate this as tobacco. And none of our court challenges have negated that.
Right.
So they therefore are going to regulate this as a tobacco product, because we haven't won any of the legal cases against them. So that's something I'm watching, because I saw the release today that Hang Seng is making a synthetic nicotine e-liquid for Geek Vapes to put into a pod device. I don't know how a Chinese company would, how much energy they would put into it if FDA tried to smack them for it. But if an American company did it, I'm gonna be sitting there like this. Okay, come on.
I know, just eating the popcorn. Like, what's happening?
Because once that happens, if a judge rules, well, this is tobacco, this is nicotine that's not derived from tobacco, so therefore you can't really regulate it as a tobacco product. So I'm going to side with them, and FDA loses, then shit just completely changes everything.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and so and I mean and that's the thing. I mean, I think people are looking at options. They're making decisions. It's there are so many different ways people are going to go on this, and I think people try a lot of different things. I mean, right now we've got this group of like-minded companies that's trying to be compliant. And that's we're
to the best of their ability.
To the very best of our ability. And we're all in on that mission, and we're going to keep going with that. until we get to a marketing order. And I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know what it's going to look like yet, but I didn't know what this was going to look like when I started on this a year ago. I had no idea. I know a lot more about PMTA than I knew a year ago. I'll tell you that damn much. And we figured out the first part, so, we're going to keep going until we figure out the next part, and then we'll figure out the part after that.
So my when I said it, I think I said it last week on the show, is I don't think FDA is going to waste any time or effort into enforcement. They're not going to go into vape shops and start looking at products on the shelf anytime soon, at least.
Right.
My worry is in states like New York, in states like Massachusetts, in states where vapor is already on the radar of the local government. There's nothing really to prevent them from going in and saying, okay, I want letters from for all of your products saying that they've been accepted for review under the FDA. That's my worry, is that FDA is not going to worry about enforcement right now, but a lot of these asshole states that were already kind of got numbers on our foreheads and they're looking at us are going to start saying, okay, well, FDA is not going to do it, so we're going to enforce their rules for them.
Exactly. And I think you already see that starting to happen with this, at the federal level, this, move in Congress about, just this taking this tough position about the transparency of the PMTA process. They want it to be transparent so they can sabotage us. Come on.
Well, yeah, they want it to be transparent so they can sabotage FDA.
Yeah.
If FDA wants to use their discretionary authority, what's that? The guy that you said, I can't say his name right. Krishnamurthy. Yeah. Krishnamurthy is going to make a big deal about, they're being too lenient. They're being, the mommy groups are also going to say, they're being too lenient on these PMTAs for these companies, and they're not really cracking the whip, and we want them to crack the whip. Right. Obviously those body part groups that already took FDA to court about the deadline and had the deadline moved for 2 years.
Yeah. Thanks.
They're going to be the ones that are going to be keeping an eye on everybody and making sure that everything happens the way they think it should happen.
Right.
So in this particular instance, I don't think the FDA are the boogeymans. It's all these assholes. It's all these assholes that want the FDA to do the job the way they think the FDA should do the job. Those are the people that I think are going to be the sort of sabotage.
I agree with that 100%. I think with all the work that's been put in these conversations with them over the last year, I think they've arrived at a point of being fairly reasonable. I say that with a giant asterisk next to it, but I am with you. I don't think the FDA is necessarily our enemy here. I think even if the FDA is willing to cut us some slack, they're going to have a lot of people from the outside fighting that attempt. And the state and local jurisdictions are a huge concern, which is one of the reasons why we've been trying to encourage as many people as we can to try and file whatever they can, because, we've already seen PMTA language creep into bills. We've already seen, certain interest bring this up in municipal settings, right? I'm fighting 2 municipal flavor bans right now. It's not only, do we have to worry about FDA and, big tobacco and the ants groups and all of that. Now we got to worry about, city council members who have just heard the word PMT or the acronym PMTA for the first time, and now they want to work that into an ordinance, and so PMTA has consequences that reach further than the federal level. right? And so that is going to trickle down into everything that we deal with over the next couple of legislative cycles, I would say. The next couple of years, I would expect a lot of that kind of language to show up in state and local ordinances. And so that's one reason why we wanted to really make this attempt to comply, is because those local battles are very difficult. They're very difficult, and we don't win them all. As you see, we don't win those all, and we don't want people to start getting taken out by one city at a time with this, PMTA language showing up in ordinances. We don't want that.
Well, no, I know it's in the New York flavor ban.
Yeah, well, I think it was in the Florida flavor ban as well before it got vetoed.
Yeah. So, you can't sell flavors. You can't sell flavors unless they've been approved by the FDA.
Yep. And there's going to be a lot more of that next year. I mean, January, when this legislative cycle kicks up, we're going to see a lot of that, I suspect.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot left on the table that has to be hashed out, and there's nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. I mean, you got your back doors, and other people got their back doors, and they come out and they announce what they say what they got in their little meetings, and you say what you got in your little meetings, and they don't always jibe. So, that's also confusing. But all we can do is keep going. Like I said, I'm here for the smokers. Vapors are going to vape. There's ways for vapors to keep vaping. Doomsday was never really doomsday. I mean, obviously we've been saying from, day one back in 2015, 2016 during the Senate Help Committee. And we already knew that the black market would come up. And Zeller said in that fucking meeting, there's no way a black market will ever come up. There's no such thing as a vapor black market. It's never going to happen. He said that in committee. He said that. And I'm like, dude, have you not been to New York City and seen where most of the cigarettes come from? Like 70% of the cigarettes in New York City are black market cigarettes. So you're trying to say that vaping is not going to have a black market? Come on, dude. But even that douchebag that said that is totally aware that if every smoker converted to vaping, it would be a net benefit for public health. I don't know why everybody didn't include that quote in their PMTAs.
I think we did.
Because he said it on record in committee. It's a matter of public record. Like, he admitted it. So why are we...
I'm sure it was in the cover letter.
Why in the hell are we having to prove that this is a benefit for public health when he said in public, in committee, as a matter of public record, that they are fully aware that this technology is a benefit for public health? It's kind of stupid to me. Why is that requirement there when they already know what it is?
Yeah. Poor Kevin. So we're getting comments in the chat, and I think people are right. Poor Kevin hasn't been able to talk because me and Patrick are over here just...
Okay, Kevin, you ask questions now, and I'll mute myself.
Blah, 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 blah. No, I've muted myself because of the child more than anything. I think the nicotine, synthetic nicotine, I answered the question. I can't see with my glasses off. Somebody said that there was something that addressed that, and the FDA did address that. And basically, the definition of tobacco product includes anything derived from tobacco, blah, 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 but they may still take it as a case-by-case basis based on a totality of the circumstances. So if 5 billion of these new puff bar type things come out, then they're gonna look at it at least. Like you both said. Oh, Patrick just left us alone, Amanda. Look at that.
It's our show now.
It's our show. We don't even like him anyway.
No, we love Patrick, but we took over the show.
No, we don't. So you can hear the vroom vroom in the background. Bill, I am trying to sit and look pretty, but it's not working. So take me through the process of of how you determined that you would team up with other businesses, because that intrigues me that everybody hates each other and they're all in each other's faces, but that you guys really aren't, and it's so far working.
We're we're not all sunshine and roses over in the PMTA sharing group, but we all work together to accomplish a goal. And I will say that group is a positivity train. If you've ever spent any time in that group, Skip's in the chat. Skip spends a lot of time keeping the positivity alive in there. And I think everybody that's involved in that project is generally like very positive people. Shar, Lindsay, April, Skip, me, like everybody. And I know there are a lot more people that are working on it. And I certainly, my role in this has been far more on the lobbying side than the PMTA sharing group. That is Shar's baby, and she deserves 100% of the credit for that, because that was a miracle. But I will say, it's been largely just hopeful and positive, and people would be in there getting frustrated. I don't understand what's going on in column U when I do this, and post a screenshot of their error message, and you'd have so many people jump in the comments that have already figured that problem out, and they'd say, well, why don't you try this, or I had that issue and I did this. And then people are in there helping each other. I mean, you see, company owner over here, this guy can't get what he needs to get his environmental assessment done for his PMTA. So he's coming over here and telling him how to fix the problem. That's us working together. And that's what we watched go on in that group for the longest time. And it's been my honor, honestly, to be invited into that by Char. It's been an absolute honor, because I think what she did in that group was nothing short of heroic, because she brought hundreds of businesses together that didn't have the tools or the resources to get a PMTA filed and accepted. And, she's made it happen. And we've had several members of that group that filed early, start getting acceptance letters in the mail. And, everybody's in there on a congratulations train. We're not in there looking for who's on the list and who's not on the list. We're just in there like, hell yeah, one of us did it. That's amazing. It can be done. You know what I mean? And so there, I think, is a lot of unity right now that we haven't seen. I don't know if I'm not going to say we've never seen it, but I don't think we've seen it in a bit that I've noticed. So there's a tremendous, if you want to see where the vapor industry is unified and pulled together, go look in the PMTA sharing group. That is a group of people that set about to help each other accomplish a mission, and they saw it through. And I'm proud of everybody in there.
Well, Skip said she's the bouncer. I'd like to call her the cranky old broad, keeping everybody in line and being a cheerleader as well. I troll on occasion, but I don't try to get involved. You guys are doing business. It's amazing to me that you guys are networking together to obtain one goal, and that's to get approved and move on with your lives. Because your guys' lives as consumers, Patrick and I, are watching you guys just pull your hair out, and it's not funny, and it's disheartening all this time to watch the FDA basically rape the industry. That's what I
don't pull out your hair, Amanda. It's very lovely.
You don't. I compared her with Fig the other day. It's pretty close. I don't know.
I missed my hair appointment yesterday because I've been working on so much of this stuff. So my roots are very long, but I appreciate the compliment. I did blow dry my hair just for this show, Patrick. I had to leave the Florida Zoom early so I could go dry my hair for your show.
Talk to Nancy. I think she knows somebody.
No, yeah, our salons open or here. We don't have to be hypocrites to go get our hair cut. It's quite all right.
Good. Yeah, that's a good picture.
Look at that lovely hair.
So Mark Sliss earlier said that these people that are doing this are heroes. I don't have the quote in front of me now, but you guys are the heroes to me for the people in your areas who are going to come in and say, I want to quit smoking. How do I do it? That's what I want. And that's what I've seen and heard tonight so far. And I commend all, I know that I'll just say leaders, 2 of them are in the room, and well, actually there's more than that, but 2 people that are in a position and in your position, actually, in different states, they give credit to everybody, and that's a beautiful thing to me. And UTO is exactly right. So I love that for how you guys are comparing yourselves with everybody else rather than saying, hey, I did it all. Because when you have an answer to a question, when somebody screws up or can't find it or gets the error message, like you said, and someone else has the answer, that's how I feel right there. That's what I think. I go, yeah, you bastards.
I think Logan's been working on somebody's PMTA because he seems stressed out.
He's pretty mad.
That's how Lindsay felt a few nights ago.
That's how I think Skip was, that little picture she sent me.
I think that's how we all have been. My God, that was an enormous effort. I'm so glad that we accomplished what we needed to accomplish by the deadline, because there was a period of time where we were freaking out that we were not going to accomplish what we meant to by the deadline, and we got it right there at the end. And we had some people submit early. We had some people that were pushing right up till the last minute, and we got a few people that are just getting in there now, just getting started on things. And but it was exhausting. It was exhausting.
I do feel bad because it wasn't because I'm not in that group, but I saw somebody post in like one of the other groups that he's like, can somebody tell me what a PMT? It was a shop. It was somebody that makes liquid in their shop, and he's like, can somebody help me file my PMTA?
Yeah.
And then somebody asked, well, haven't you already started? And he's like, no. And this was the day of.
Right.
This was the day of, and I was just like, oh shit.
I think we forget sometimes that not everybody in the industry is as plugged in, on social media as we are. I mean, us that are on Twitter and Facebook all the time, we know what's going on within an hour of it happening, right? Like we stay up on the vape news, right? And I think sometimes we forget that there are a lot of people that don't know what's going on, but we really tried to let as many people know about it as we could, to give as many people as possible the opportunity to participate. But it's always hard when you start doing something and you don't know the outcome of what it's going to be, because people, I don't know if they necessarily thought what we were doing was going to lead to anything, and I bet there are some people looking back now wishing maybe they would have gotten on board with us a little sooner, instead of sitting there kind of throwing shade on some of our efforts. But I hope those people found a way to get through it too. I hope they did. I hope everybody that needed to get through it found a way to at least get something in. But I know that I don't know about people that are just trying to start on it right now, if that's going to do anything. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I know there are people that are starting right now and they're trying to explain why they missed the deadline. And I have no idea what's going to happen with those.
Well, I mean, to be completely factual, you can start a PMTA and submit a PMTA anytime. You just can't sell that product.
Right. But I'm saying, I don't know if people that submit after the deadline, if FDA is going to have this understanding that they're going to work with them. Like they kind of put out that the people that submitted on time, they're going to work with them. Right. And so I don't know if that same latitude is going to apply to people filing after. I hope so. So that some of these people that got started a little later might get a chance to catch up, but we'll see what happens. Not sure. I would say try. It's better than not trying, definitely try. Everything that you need is in that group, and there's hundreds of people in there that'll help you. Shar is cursing at me under her breath right now. Like, no, don't bring new people in here. We just got done. We got to do the next part now. And we do have to do the next part, but maybe some people that Shar spent so much time teaching how to do it can help the new people so Shar can focus on the next part with me. So, but that's what it's all about. It's like, okay, something was given to somebody, and so they took that and then they passed that down to someone else, right? And it's really kind of cool what's going on.
Wasn't there like a movie? There was like a movie about that, like Pay It Forward or something like that.
Yeah, pay it forward, and there's a lot of that going on in the group of paying it forward. Like, I had to deal with the frustration of learning this, and now you're all frustrated, and I'm going to tell you what you're doing wrong because I did the same thing, and it's super cool. And usually they're little easy things to fix, once you know what the error is, and and you get rolling again. It's great. I can't tell you how many times Shar had to get on a team viewer with us and help us with ours. I have no computer skills, and so one of our employees was doing all the hard computer parts, and I was doing all the typing, making things sound good parts. But the Shar helped us a lot, Lindsay helped us a lot, and I know they helped hundreds of people. It took a village to get everybody to the point of filing. I'll tell you that much. An entire village.
It took a village.
Well, you guys,
you're quoting Hillary Clinton on my show.
That's an old cliche. I hope that's not a Hillary Clinton original.
It's the title of one of her books.
I don't have anything against Hillary. I don't know why I just threw Hillary Clinton. I don't feel one way or the other about her, to be honest. So if Hillary Clinton fans, I didn't mean to offend you. I really don't have an opinion other than I think maybe would have not been the best for vape. And there you go.
Please send all letters to NUTO P.O. Box. So you guys were...
I don't think there's very many Hillary Clinton lovers watching the stream right now, but there might be one or two.
Maybe. There might. You never know. I don't know. So you guys were... 2009, you were almost put out of business before some of you started. In about 2014... or 15, I think it was Senator Markley or Mucklehead, whatever his name is.
There was Markley, there was Murky. There's two of them that
one of them said put them out of business. And,
that was Ed Markley.
Markley. That really pissed me off. So you went from trying to be put out of business in 08 or 9 when they seized everything in New York, and that went through the courts with Enjoy. And then you've got Mark Lee being a dumbass. And then you've got all the body parts people just wanting to destroy it even more. And then you've got 2 surgeon generals in a row saying there's an epidemic. And then you've got Gottlieb, who's a dumbass, Pfizer boy, who knew everything he could say and didn't. And now he's saying it. And now you have people that are in the industry getting together and doing what you're doing to try to do it correctly. And when the first one goes through, because I think they will, I hope they will, and I think they will, then they have nothing left to say. And that's what my hope is for you, all of you, every one of you.
Well, thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it. And, I mean... anybody that wants to take a chance on your business surviving, come join us. We got this far. We're not stopping now. We're determined to go the distance, and we're going to do it the same way we've done it so far, with a lot of nutto and a lot of cooperation and a lot of shared resources and a lot of hopefulness and just elbow grease, frankly. I mean, we're going to keep charging forward, and we are in a race against the clock with FDA. I don't know how fast they're going to get around to looking at all these things. The people that submitted early, they've been hearing back, but the rest of us that submitted, the day of or the day before, I don't know how far back in the line we're going to be. Pretty far, I would imagine. So we are in a race against the clock to figure out how we are going to resolve deficiencies once we start getting these in. But we're already working on it. We've got a lot of good help from professionals and experts on the topic, and so we're going to keep doing what we can to move forward. And if you are out there watching this and you have some kind of resources that you think would be helpful with the next phase, get with me and Shar, because that's how we've done this so far. Is people in the industry have such a wide range of skills that we don't even know about. For example, in the PMTA sharing group, the woman who wrote the literature review is from Beaumont, Texas, from my hometown, and I think it's so funny. This vape shop owner from my hometown wrote this amazing kick-ass literature review and summary that ended up being in everybody's PMTA in the group. Like, that's the thing. People in this industry have skills. They have an amazing wide set of skills that I think we haven't necessarily tapped. And so if you've got some kind of skill where you're like, oh, I know how to do this part of it, let's get together and put all of our skills together and see what we can do.
I believe, Mr. Sliss, are you not a chemist or a scientist, if I recall? Among 1,000 other things. Yeah, every one of you guys are something else.
Well, I don't think anybody went to college to be in the vaping industry. I think most of these people had careers before they were vapors. Yeah. Most of them.
Yeah, attorneys to everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a guy that's a pulmonologist. I know a couple respiratory therapists that open vape businesses.
If you need some mental health counseling, I've got you. That's my.
We need that.
That's right.
Yeah, that was my career before vape.
Yeah.
That's why I
definitely need that.
That's why I think I'm so good at. People are always like, "Why are you so good at talking to politicians?" My whole career has been talking to strangers about very important things and trying to convince them to do things that they don't necessarily want to do. And I had like a decade's worth of practice with that, so it came in handy.
Well, Kevin has some problems with performance issues that he might need some counseling for.
And who better than to ask than a politician what his troubles are?
No,
I'm ignoring you, Patrick.
You just have to figure out what motivates them and speak to that.
Look at Mark's itinerary here.
Geophysicist.
I can barely even pronounce that. Geologist, water quality specialist. So I knew
that's even more credentials than me. I just have a master's degree in forensic anthropology.
Yeah. Skip's got her cranky old broad. She's got a big poster on her.
Well, actually, there is a university in France that has now accredited a PhD in vapology.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's been about 2 years ago. We had Arnaud Durale on from France. We were interviewing him because he was the one that was trying to develop the ISO standard for vaping for the international organization. And he was talking about this kid in France that had built a vaping machine and gotten a patent on it. And that's what one of the machines that they're using in France to do the aerosol testing in France. And that he had been given a PhD. He had gotten his doctorate in vapology.
Nice.
And I was like, what?
I've never heard that before, Patrick. That's fascinating. And I kind of want a degree in vapology.
No kidding.
Well, you might have to move to France. I don't think that they're having that. I'm going to pull up that show. It's only an audio show. It's before we did video. But,
right. If we get it, is it recognized in the United States?
Arnaud was on the board of VTA when they started. So he's not a crackpot.
Dude, I want to put that on my Twitter bio, certified vapologist.
Well, this guy's a doctor of vapology.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to be scrolling for a minute here because this isn't, we've got several hundred shows that I'm going to have to scroll through here.
So Twitterologist is another one then probably.
Well, you're the only doctor of Twitterology that we know.
Their skills and former careers in the chat. That's cool.
Yeah, it is. Mark, you're a lot of things, including that.
People.
And tell us how the puppy is now. That poor dog.
Interesting.
That dog was the hit of the rally.
There was a dog at the rally?
Bernie, he's the greatest.
Yeah. Bernie was out there fighting for our rights, Patrick. You didn't see Bernie's pictures?
He's a good dog.
I was watching the show while I was tweeting and calling the White House. I didn't see any doggy in the video.
Hold on, let me find pirate here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna dig your. It's not hard to find.
I'll find it later. I'll send it to you. There's like 800 shows on this. We've been doing this for a while.
Hey, you know the other good vape news this week I don't think we touched on yet unless I wasn't paying attention?
What?
I'm pretty sure I was paying attention this whole time, but sometimes I get distracted. But did we talk about plants?
Oh, we have not mentioned that. See, I don't think it's good news.
You don't think
I know that it's not good news. I mean, even in the announcement, he said that he was still going to be active in tobacco control and that he had spoken to other people in academia that had retired from their university jobs to go into other positions in tobacco control. That's what I think he's going to do. Is we've already kind of documented it on the show where he's been publicized as traveling all over the world, promoting anti-vaping crap all over the world. I feel like he's probably taking Matt Myers' job or something, that he's going to be. He's not disappearing. He's just leaving academia for more fucking money.
Well, I was kind of hoping maybe he had gotten a little bit discredited and he was trying to save some face with all that talk.
No.
Off to some great consulting career of riches. They can tell some more.
My feeling on the matter is, and I could totally be wrong, but his announcement said that he was going to continue the projects that he had already started at UCSF, and that he would be moving into other positions in tobacco control. I don't think that it's necessarily. I mean, it's not bad news.
He's going to be the vice president of the American Vaping Association. Him and Greg are going to get together.
Oh, that's not even cool. That's not even cool. After watching Grim Green's stream this week, so last week apparently somebody had commented on one of the media sites that had an anti-vaping story on, and had used his identity.
Greg's?
No, Grim Green's.
Oh.
So then this week in another place, somebody had commented on something and had used Greg Connolly's name to make an anti-vaping statement. So these assholes will do anything. Yeah. And stealing somebody's identity to comment on a report, that is not cool. So you're saying this dog?
That dog.
Yes.
Bernie?
And if you click on the picture.
And Greg's ankles?
Then Greg's ankles. So you got to click on. There you go.
And is that Greg's dog?
No, it's Mark's dog.
Then why does Greg have like a poopy bag in his hand?
Because he's got to do other shit too. He can't just talk and walk around.
Bernie's everybody's dog. She's the industry's dog now. We all love her.
Look at that.
I'm just wondering, why is Greg responsible for picking up the doggy's poopy?
The dog needed some time on the show.
Are you sure it's not Greg's mask in the picture?
Probably. Yeah, I think it is.
No, I think
he was probably kissing the dog. He had to take his mask off.
Well, there's nobody nearby. He's socially distanced. Unless the dog has got COVID, then he's too close.
I'll tell you this much. Greg takes the social distancing and coronavirus precautions very seriously.
Well, Greg is a little bit like me. He's not a hugger. He's this is your personal space. This is my personal space. I'm going to stand. I mean, you weren't at the VTA thing where we were all in the bar getting drunk late at night. Lindsay was there. There was like 30 or 40 of us in the bar. Lindsay doesn't remember anything that we talked about that night.
Mm-hmm.
So
Tisk,
no
tisk.
Lisa. It may look like a mask to you, but it's definitely a poopy bag. It's definitely the.
We're going
I'm
with
going to get a
poopy
private message in a minute from Greg saying it is not. But yeah, Greg stood way over there. Like he would talk to us, but he was like, he was at least 10 feet away from everybody. He's kind of I'm a germaphobe, so I will totally defend his right to stand far away from people.
No, it was funny. I think it was, God, when was it? It was at some point earlier this year. Greg came to Denver for one of our hearings at the state capitol, and like coronavirus was like going around at that point, but nothing was shut down yet because we were obviously all at the Capitol, right? And like I remember, I was so excited to see Greg. I was so happy he came to Denver to be at our hearing and stuff. I'm like running up like, Greg, like I'm gonna sit by you and like be all like super hyped about you, and he's just like, whoa, back the fuck up. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Greg has boundaries.
So there's a reason why every time that I used to go to a vape event, like the day after, everybody would be on social media going, I got the convention cred, and I'd be like, I feel totally fine. Thank you very much.
Probably smart.
So I'm wondering, I'm going to take an audience poll real quick. Should I open this?
What is it?
Cease.
JBEC?
With black whiskey.
There you go. I can read it now.
There might be some people in the room that know what this is. My very good friend Jerebeck, RJ, sent me a tiny bottle of whiskey.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. In a bag, no less.
Well, no, it's just paper. It's tissue paper.
Can we just highlight Lindsay's comment because it's kind of hilarious?
Which one?
The one where she says that she hasn't been drinking.
The PMTAs have really slowed down her drinking here.
Should I open this? Is what I'm saying.
Well, is it the kind of thing you save for a special occasion? Because this has been a pretty great week.
Well, I mean, he sent me a second one. This one is this one I'm supposed to save for special. This one is the rye whiskey. So when somebody that I know that has developed the most unique and heralded e-liquid in the world, as far as I'm concerned, when the guy that developed Castle Long and Castle Long Reserve develops a whiskey, maybe I should open it.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, let's get a product review.
I'm going to do a whiskey show. Like, I'm going to take some weekend and just drink until I'm blue in the, I'm just going to drink until I can't hold my head up and then do a whiskey show.
Uncensored, of course.
I don't know I don't even know what the meaning of the word censored is, my friend.
Big wants to know, the hell, 2 bottles?
I don't even want to hear a word from that boy. He had a whiskey connection for a long time that always brought him bottles of whiskey and never brought me a bottle of whiskey. So I don't want to hear that from him.
No. Well, you got an open it, a yes. The hell, 2 bottles. Dude.
Well, what made me mad was Sapir was on this show.
Yes.
And had a bottle.
Yeah.
And then I was like, how in the hell do you have a bottle? I don't have a bottle. And the next thing you know, I had 2 bottles.
Now you got 2 bottles? Well, how come you get 2 bottles? I don't have any.
You don't drink.
Of course I'm not going to drink them, so send them to Fig.
Fuck Fig.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Fuck Fig. I forgot about that.
No, that's still a thing, is it?
Fig. Oh, of course it is.
Fuck Fig is never going to go away.
Poor Fig. He can never catch a break. You guys are mean.
I didn't make it up. I just use it.
Oh, that's right. And then Liana said, "Why not open it?" So there you go. Now you're going.
Okay, let's all have a moment of silence for Patrick's reaction.
Now, see, I'm all hyped up. I'm gonna get all like paranoid. That's the black whiskey. Ooh, it burns too. Oh, it's
burn
good.
And it's good. There you go.
I like it.
There you go.
I like it. Next. Yo, talk amongst yourselves while I enjoy the last sip.
All right.
Is there any topic that we have not covered, Amanda, that you feel like we need to talk about? I mean, you brought up glance that we hadn't talked about. I'm sure there's something else.
Well, I really just brought that up so we could all collectively go fuck glance and then have a little laugh about it.
Well, I did a whole show.
Oh, did you wait?
I did a whole show called Glancing at Breasts. I've already.
You've had your laughs.
Fucking glance.
I remember that show. It was a good one.
Patrick loves a good throat burn.
That was good.
We got Amanda to say fuck. Now that's pretty amazing.
I've heard her say fuck before.
Well, I have too, but yeah, she did it again.
So we should celebrate every time she says fuck?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I like the fact that when I say the F word, it's like a noticeable event. That's awesome.
Yeah, I get excited.
That's why I don't say it very often, because, man, when I do, people really go, what?
I know.
Great.
I know. Skip has a point. We still need to be tweeting our hearts out.
Well,
this is not over.
We do.
We can, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, so on Skip's point about tweeting our hearts out, I mean, absolutely, because for what we need to accomplish right now to get from where we're at with these PMTAs to where we want to be with them, we still need PMTA reform in that we need to work with them on getting these testing requirements down to something manageable. So that PMTA reform hashtag didn't die on the deadline. It's still very much needed. And we're still going to be doing a lot of things to add pressure to that, that we'll have calls to action out for, people to participate in, on different things. And so there will be a lot of activity coming up because lobbying is going to be an ongoing part of this. And successful lobbying always involves some grassroots movements and stuff. And so we're going to be issuing calls to action on things as we move through this process. So yeah, I mean, all the stuff we've been doing, tweeting, calling, emailing, reaching out to your representatives, all of that sort of thing is still very much needed. What?
Yes. What the hell is he doing?
I don't know why I'm the only one visible right now. This is really awkward.
Because we're not important.
That is true.
We're lowly consumers.
Lowly?
Lowly.
Here's the thing. I talk about business owners a lot right now, and it's really just because all the stuff I'm doing. Like our business was started to help people like us, like everybody else, right? It was started because we were the consumer and we thought this was amazing. And there were no vape shops in our town where we were, and we thought it was something that people could improve their lives with, And so now, but it's kind of funny because in the last couple of years, being so involved in advocacy, I really have a heart for my fellow business owners, because in advocacy, we all have to work together. And so I've been able to spend a lot of time getting to know, fellow business owners on a very personal level. And it's hard because now I feel like I forget to talk about consumers as much as I should, because I just have all this love in my heart for the struggle of us business owners right now. It's like we've all been trauma bonded together somehow.
Yep.
So the results for the national youth tobacco, the initial data set is out, and FDA says, Stephen Hahn says, today in partnership with CDC Gov released results from the 2020 National Youth Tobacco Survey, which shows encouraging decline in the overall e-cigarette use, but concerning use of disposable products, that there's a overall decline in e-cig use and a slight uptick in disposable e-cig use. So, obviously we already kind of knew that, but this is good information, but Mitt doesn't think so.
That's Mittens.
So obviously he says, I spoke with Stephen Hahn today to urge him to ban flavors from vape products and disposable e-cigarettes at the federal level. So obviously, regardless of what FDA does with the PMTAs, we still got assholes like this to deal with. Mm-hmm. There goes, any hope that I ever had of like everybody keeps saying this is an R or a D sort of thing. Well, this is a fucking prominent Republican. Yeah. So it can't be an R or D thing.
And Skip's got a great point. It's very interesting when they decided to release the data. So all these apps are coming in, and they're going to release the e-cigarette part of the anecdotal survey in the high-risk areas. I'm sure they won't tell us where.
Well, they don't ask every kid in the world or every kid in the United States.
No, and then they're asking kids who are going to lie anyway, so it's probably higher in my opinion, but it went down, period, no matter what. In the middle of a pandemic.
Well, depends on if you're saying one-time use. Oh, I tried it.
Right.
Versus, because they think that if the kid tried it once,
right.
It's like you asked the other day, are you gay if you did it once and you didn't do it again?
Exactly. So I don't want to butcher the gentleman's name here. I've got it bookmarked in my tweets, and it's pretty. It's not high enough. Edelman.
Ethan
Nadelman.
Yeah.
I didn't go through these numbers. I'm not a mathematician. He put, and I've also seen 5, that only 4% of all high school and 0.5% of middle school students reported daily use. So they didn't release the smoking. Don't know if it went up or down. And that's the daily numbers. And so did Dr. Gardner, who has left Smoke Free
World
Foundation for Smoke Free World. Skip mentioned as well, or is leaving. I don't know.
Yeah, and I tried to get Dr. Gardner on a while back, and he's like, "Well, I can't because I'm representing an organization and blah blah blah." So maybe I can get him on now.
I was going to say that's a good opportunity.
That's a great idea, Patrick. I would love to hear an episode with him because, man, on his tweets, I know people talk about the Smoke Free Foundation and that, but I will tell you, Charles Gardner's tweets are very sympathetic to us little guys. I think.
He drips with sarcasm. Like when he tweets, you can feel the sarcasm in his tweets.
Yeah,
he is elbow friggin' deep. Yes.
I think he's one of our best tweeters. He is. I love his Twitter feed. He is a fantastic tweeter.
And Amanda, that's the only time you can ever say that Patrick had a good idea. Don't say that out loud.
Well, I had the idea a long time ago, but I hit him up and he was like, "I'm sorry, dude, but I work for an organization and yada 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 and blah blah blah." But now he's not in the organization, so maybe we'll get him on. I'm very excited. I have another guest that's on the hook that I'm just trying to reel in. I'm talking to press people and media relations people, and it's going to be a big deal if I can get this person on.
Is it Kevin's favorite person by any chance?
No, that guy's a dickweed.
I would be here for that, man.
Jerry will never come on.
And Dom from Vida News has agreed to come on. It's just, getting scheduling and everything lined up. So that'll be pretty cool. Skip Murray facilitated that.
Skip's
big time
too. Skip's coming on.
Skip has agreed to come on, even though she said she doesn't do interviews. She's coming on.
Oh.
The cranky old broad show. That's all it's going to be.
She refused to be in the new Nicotine movie, but she's going to be on. She's going to be on Son of Liberty Radio,
and we love her for it.
I want to know how Skip got this reputation of being a cranky old broad, because Skip is never anything but nice and sweet and lovely to me. I have never, not one time ever, seen that side of her. And it's really interesting because I'm in quite a few chats with her and I've never seen that side of her. I guess I'll have to do something to piss her off one of these days, huh?
I'm
unless you're a corrupt politician or an anti-vaping ideologue or zealot, you might not ever get to see it. You might just have to watch it from outside.
Well, they deserve it. That's fine.
You don't want to be on the receiving end of it.
You got to troll down. You got to troll down in her tweets about 2 years. Her and Cigar Babe.
That's old. Oh, sorry.
What?
What? I don't even know what's going on. No comment from me.
Cigar Babe is a person on Twitter. That's the easiest way.
Well, I know that, but I don't know specifically what you're referencing, so I'm going to stay out of it.
Oh, there was that's another cranky old broad, is what Kevin is.
I can't remember what I called her offhand, but
I thought you were saying her and Skip got into a Twitter fight or something.
No, they're both cranky in different ways.
I gotcha.
A bunch of old biddies is all I'm saying. That's all.
Well.
So yeah, vaping rates are down. Glance is going away.
Kevin's rash cleared up.
Yep. Both of them. Exactly.
Both of them.
Applications. I give it to him and then I give it to myself. Applications are in. This is better.
Florida veto.
Florida. Oh, I love that.
Florida veto. Oh.
That letter. Patrick said it the other day with the Nick father. That letter needs to. That when you walk into any meeting, that needs to be one of the first things you hand them on the top of the pile of all the crap you got to carry. That's one of the top things you have to have, if not the top.
I personally, I can't think of any better weapon that we didn't create. Like we didn't write that letter. No. Like that is the best thing that's been handed to us in a long time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that letter was amazing. And it was, I read it on the show and I was just like, this is the bee's knees. This is, awesome. I can't think of any better thing that could have happened to us.
Yeah. Florida is pretty crucial to the country. I mean, what happens in Florida tends to determine a lot for the course of the country. They're it's a swing state that, they get in the middle of all of these like super divisive political races and they're a deciding factor. And, it's kind of funny, like here we are in this super divisive issue of vaping and, Florida comes down with like this unprecedented thing of like, a governor just flat out just standing up for us and just swatting them down. Like, I hope that is an indication of the direction we're going here. I hope they swing the nation that way.
Yep.
That was a thing of beauty. Like, to all involved, amazing.
Yeah, I'm just like, did we write that letter and just hand it to him, or because he said everything?
Mm-hmm.
He said everything. It was great.
I informed, what's his name, Andy Provolone up in New York, that's how politicians are supposed to act. So,
yeah,
it is. Period. For the people. Period.
Yeah. So I think everybody should just basically say, okay, thank you, Governor, for standing up for my right to pick the way I put nicotine into my body. We should thank, the consumers for buying the products and being there so that the businesses that just busted their fucking balls on PMTAs could do that. Yeah. Like, I think this week we should, other than Chicago, I think this week we should just be saying thank you to everybody. Yeah. Everybody that did the work, everybody that goes to work every day to save smokers, every advocate in every state that stands up and tries to, save this industry. It's literally, I think this week proves the fact that, and I've seen a lot of fucking negativity this week. I've seen people just bashing other people, dragging each other's names in the mud, whether that was about PMTA or other fucking drama. There's always got to be some goddamn drama in this industry.
Yeah.
And then everybody just, everybody has to pick a side. And I'm like, why? This particular thing over here has nothing to do with you. Why are you fucking even opening your mouth? Obviously the scumbag people that are trying to fucking generate lists of, fictional people or whatever the process is with these three websites trying to generate lists of compliant people. Why? It's just, there's so much other shit going on. Let's focus on the good shit. Let's just focus on the fact that Florida Smoke Free is yet again undefeated. That
32, I think now.
34 and 34
no. 34. I think that they're only second. If you start adding up bills over a cumulative time, I think only Texas has defeated more bills than them. And we've taken some hits, but Safada, Texas has been there for like 6 or 8 years now. And has been swinging. So the state groups that are fucking fighting, God bless you. The national trade organizations that are there, what? God bless you. And the companies that are filing or the companies that aren't filing, what? As long as you're saving smokers, God bless you. And that I just think we need to stay mostly in that area,
like tending your own corn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, getting everybody to quit fucking bitching and moaning about what somebody else did. Period.
Yep. I think you made a really good point, Patrick. Like, this is a week for gratitude, and it's very sad for what's happening in Chicago. That's very sad that we had another major city get a flavor ban. But, that was a very dark note on an otherwise week of just really good news. And I think it was a week when the industry needed good news, to be honest. We've needed some good news. We were overdue for some good news.
Get on Twitter and retweet the tweet.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just I wanted to make sure that gets done. And there's a second tweet.
We did a gratitude show a while back.
We did. I did a whole video of saying thank you to people for listening to us shoot the breeze every Friday night. And I have a whole video of saying thank you to all those people. And this is a VTA tweet that essentially that Governor DeSantis is the first governor to veto a flavor ban. And, obviously, thank you. And go retweet that tweet, too. So, yeah, I literally think there's so much negativity going on. There's people that have to make choices that maybe aren't, that maybe have you wondering why, that's not fair or whatever. People have to make choices. And regardless of how that affects you, sometimes people have to make choices that you don't like. So, yeah, just, obviously the drama about the fucking 3 websites trying to make lists, that needs to be handled. I mean, there should be no drama. I think we should all agree that it's nobody's business but the FDA's to publish a fucking list of what's registered and what's not, period. And why should we be helping the government regulate this industry any more than they want to over-regulate this industry?
Whoever it is, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we need to focus more on, promoting the positive and ignoring the negative, because that happens a lot. And, sometimes I get mad and do it. I get pissed off and say negative things all the time. It happens. But like right now, we need to be focusing on the good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, usually there's a lot to be pissed off about. It just so happens this week there's a lot to be happy about. Thank God.
Yeah. Monday.
Somebody unleashed the Kraken in the chat room.
Oh, here we go. Charlie's in the room.
Oh.
Unleash the Kraken.
He comes in, he goes away. I see him on Twitter on occasion. That and a bastard. Can't figure out who that is.
A bastard comes in and listens to the show all the time, and I'll get a message from a bastard, and I'm like, which one of you bastards is a bastard?
I think it's Bruni.
No, Bruni's not a bastard.
No, he's not a bastard, but
I thought it was Paul for the longest time because Paul is a bastard. So I thought it was Paul. Paul, huh? Yeah, he's
D-Kid. You don't know D-Kid?
You didn't know that Paul Meyer was a bastard?
He's never been a bastard to me. What are you doing to Patrick?
He comes into anytime we bring him onto the show, he's like, "Hey, dickheads."
Oh, that's funny. That's just he's Australian. It's fine.
He's a drop bear.
So yeah, he's a bastard. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't nearly as bad as you thought it was going to be, Amanda. You thought I was going to be all like crazy and bashing heads and stuff. I didn't bash any heads today.
No, you've got some really like positive vibes right now. I'm digging it.
It's not going to stay long. It's not going to stay long. Something always shits all over my positivity. So it,
Crazy things can happen. It'll probably be terrible, but let's just write it out for as long as we can. It's fine.
Monday, the shitstorm happens again. So
Monday comes back. Ed said, "Cranky son of liberty," and Fig, you're so welcome.
No,
I got hair wings.
I want to know who invented the fuck Fig, though. I think it was Fig himself.
Fig.
I think Fig did start that. Now that you mention it,
I think it was Fig. I think Fig particularly. I think
reality, though.
But I will perpetuate. I will perpetuate it as much as I want. Yeah. We're gonna have to get Blameyer t-shirts. Like put his face on it, like a cartoon version of him. I'll draw it and we'll put it on a shirt, and it'll say "Good day, dickheads."
That's for you, Fig.
Like Paul's head with like a kangaroo body. Is that too much?
Or a koala.
Can anybody make that? Where are people with these graphic design skills?
Or a koala.
Oh my God! I think. Well, never mind.
I've been designing bereavement cards all week. We've had several coworkers and family members pass away this week, so I don't believe in buying bereavement cards or greeting cards. So I custom make them for each family member.
Gotcha.
It's depressing. Like I've had to do 4 of them this week.
Wow.
So there is that. But where did it go? I was going to show you the part that I could show you because I actually did a portrait of the person that passed away on it. So I can't show you the face of the person, but while I'm depressed, there it is. There it is. There's part of it. Yeah. Cough, cough.
Let me get my mask.
Who was it? Oh, it was
smoky here from all of those fires, because I live out in the West and like the whole atmosphere is just smoky as hell. It's been really bad the last week.
Well, were your skies orange?
No, our skies haven't been like San Francisco orange apocalyptic, but like it's not like that crystal clear blue sky like we usually have. It's very hazy. The sun is sort of obscured a little bit. We've got some smoke in the air for sure. Nothing apocalyptic though.
Yeah, that orange was pretty cool looking.
It was kind of cool. It was also terrifying, but it did look cool.
Think of the nanoparticles, will you, Patrick, for once?
The nanoparticle? What?
I don't know what they are, whatever those particles are.
The microns? What the hell? What are we referencing? I know we're referencing something. I forget.
I mean, there was particulates in the air. I think
that'll work.
That's what he was probably trying to get to.
Yeah.
I'm spending way too much time trying to fix this so that I can show the sadness. But yeah, I mean, this COVID thing is not done.
Nope.
So yeah, the COVID thing is not done. No. So that's part of the card that I drew.
Oh, that's really nice. You drew that?
Yes.
Damn,
that's a really good patch. I didn't know you were an artist. Very cool. Wow.
Oh, I went to art school for 2
cool.
years. And I ran an art studio for 10 years.
Ultra fine particles. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. So positivity, good things. So everybody, there's no reason to be, freaking out and shuttering your doors and closing your, businesses and all that. I think it's business as usual until somebody gets smacked. And I don't think anybody's going to get smacked. I think the first person that FDA enforces on is going to get a warning letter. That's how they've been doing business for 10 years. So I don't imagine anybody's going to get smacked with a $50,000 fine on the first day or the first month or the first 6 months. Keep doing business.
If you didn't put in a PMTA, then that's on you, but don't close till you have to.
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't.
Obviously yeah. And Logan says in the Periscope that he's more worried about state and local crackdowns. And that's what we already said,
right?
A while, half an hour ago. I really feel like that people in those problematic areas like Massachusetts and New York and California, those places might be in the bullseye for some local or state assholes coming in and saying, well, we want to see your PMTA registrations for the products that you're selling. But I don't really think that FDA's, I mean, obviously the local health departments and the local LEOs and the some states have third party contracts with FDA, but they might have been given discretion by FDA to do things and to do mystery shops and things like that on their own, because the contracts that I've seen basically, give whoever they get a percentage, if not all of the fines that they levy. So some of the local health departments and the local contractors have motivation to do stuff, but I don't think FDA itself is going to do anything. They're not going to order people to go and do those things, but they have contracts. They're allowed so many times a year to do those.
How long do we think it's going to take FDA to put together this list? Because I'm just imagining FDA trying to compile this list, and it's kind of hilarious.
Well, I mean, for the ones that are electronically filed, that won't be a problem. Once they get all the thumb drives plugged into the mainframes and they get everybody's shit downloaded, they might have a bunch of college kids sitting there, thumb driving and copying files right now. You don't know. I don't think it's going to be nearly as long as what people think it is. I think FDA's been fucking playing possum with their technology Like, I think that their fucking website is antiquated and crap, specifically to make you think that they're not up to date on technology, and then they're gonna buzz through and download all these fucking thumb drives pretty quick, I think.
Paper?
I could be wrong, but I mean, generating an electronic list of electronic files is not hard. So once they get everything done, generating a list, it'll be the ones that have to be scanned. The paper ones, they're gonna put that in a massive document scanner and scan the paper applications.
So you think this list will appear pretty quickly?
I wouldn't say in the next 60 days. That would be my prediction. I don't think it'll take them longer than that.
Okay.
Plus, they got your referrals. All they got to do is match the product registrations with the files that they already received, and go that way.
Right.
And then Fig just typed in the chat room. They did hire 1,500 people at the beginning of the year. So they've got more staff than what they've had ever before, probably. So
yeah, well, maybe it won't take them that long to get through it all. I just know that
generating a list of people that have applied may not take it. I mean, obviously, going through the fucking documentation is going to take them a little bit longer. But just generating a list of the people that have applied, I don't think it's going to take that long. It's not going to be tomorrow. But I don't think it'll take forever.
Here's why it makes me laugh in my head. And I'm sure they have organizational tools to deal with this. But like, we just did ours on eSubmitter, so we're probably easy, right? But we have people who did, and I think this is great. They shipped a box of thumb drives via UPS. They sent the same thumb drives via FedEx. They, hand delivered them. They sent them on paper, and then they eSubmit. I mean, we had people that submitted in multiple formats because they want to make sure that it was in. And so they've got the same PMTAs in like 4 different formats. I think it's funny. Like, maybe I shouldn't chuckle about it. I think it's funny.
Yeah, you should chuckle about it. They asked
I guarantee you FDA is not working from home.
No, they've been back.
And FDA tobacco has nothing to do with COVID, so they're not even worried about COVID. They're doing tobacco. They have their own division for tobacco control. So,
right.
I think that they're probably going to. It's probably going to happen much faster. I mean, obviously the eSubmitter ones are going to be really fast. The thumb drives, the paper guys, those are going to take some time. And they may have to release what they have on eSubmitter first and say this list is not complete, but this is a starting point. So, I don't necessarily think that, Fig is in the chat room saying he doesn't think anything will happen until after the election. That may be true. I don't think that FDA has any reason to love Donald Trump. So I don't think that they're waiting to see if he's going, he's been very critical of a lot of their efforts over the last 6-8 months. So I don't know that they're going to be kowtowing to him anyway. I've already been told that Stephen Hahn accepted the position as an interim and he has no intention of staying beyond, what he's going to be there for. Like he doesn't want to be there forever. I think he has a desire to go back and do what his passion is, which is cancer treatments and developing cancer treatments and things like that. So, he's more, I think he's just a placeholder until they find somebody else. And I don't believe that they're actively looking for anybody because if Trump doesn't win, somebody's going to pick somebody else anyway. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what, I can't make that prediction. Yeah. Paul
the replacement may not be any better.
He just sent them a copy of OS2. Warp. That's old school.
Windows 3.1 still is an opening.
But okay, so Amanda, we're at the. I think we've held you long enough, and I'm getting tired, and I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover. So, Let's do our closing thoughts.
Okay.
You can start.
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay. I'm very tired. I'll try to have some coherent closing thoughts, but obviously, we talked about it the whole show, all the good things that are going on this week, and this sort of wave of gratitude and positivity and whatnot. And I think it's really cool. We're taking time to celebrate the wins. Like, Nick hosted an absolutely great Zoom celebration of the veto right before this show. And I'm just glad to see that we're taking the time to cherish the victories, because they're very hard won and far between. So it's nice to see we're spending time acknowledging those and being grateful for those. But so kind of my final thought, our industry is a very complicated, messy symbiosis of a whole bunch of different interests, right? But if you remove any part of that, the whole thing kind of breaks down, right? And so I think right now it's very important for us to remember that our industry only functions as a whole, right? And so we can't go casting people off and throwing people under the bus, or having this war of the PMTA haves versus the PMTA have-nots, or, looking down on someone because they didn't, pass a certain finish line. I think it's important to remember that we are all one big family, and we all depend on each other. I mean, the manufacturers fill a certain role, the suppliers fill a certain role, the distros fill a role, the shops fill a role, the shop the people that manufacture for their shops, they play a role, obviously, and it's all for nothing without the consumer, right? And so there isn't any part of this industry that we can just do away with and not have all of us be impacted. And I say that because we've got people that are out there with these dreams of PMTA monopolies, PMTA takeovers, and just knocking everybody else out. If you think that about yourself, that you are going to catch a little government monopoly because you could throw more money at PMTA than everybody else, I would encourage you to sit back and think long and hard about how this industry actually functions. And if you want to be the sole survivor trying to work on a convenience store shelf, and if you don't want to be that guy, stop trying to use PMTA as an effort to put people on a list and push people out. Instead, get on board, help make sure our industry survives. Throw your lot in with the rest of us, because you are no different than the rest of us at all. You might be bigger, you might have more, but you're not different, right? You still have to meet the same things that we have to meet. And if you are looking at that guidance and you think I've got this in the bag, 100% ready to go, good luck. Good luck with that. We all need each other right now, and we all have to stay together. And we can't let this latest government thing be something that we use to cannibalize each other. It has to be something that we use to come together and figure out how we're going to collectively survive. Because big tobacco wants us gone, right? The politicians want us gone. All the big money special interest healthcare groups, pseudo healthcare groups want us gone, right? We can't afford to be looking at each other thinking about who we want gone, because they're already doing that for us. Right now, we've all got to come together and power through this last part of this, because it's going to be long and it's going to be hard. But I am very, very hopeful that if we keep doing what we've been doing so far, that we can all come together and make it through this, and continue to do this thing that we all love and value so much. And that's my final thought. It's a thought of unity.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Fig said even the shitty brands still are not tobacco, and no fucking snitching on anyone.
There is some smoker somewhere that loves that juice. You can bank on it.
You will bank on it, yes. Because I've had what I thought was really good juice until then I tried something else and I went, oh, this is way better. That sucked. So I've seen an industry and really it's still in its its infancy stage in time, and I've seen a lot of groundbreaking things happen. They've stopped technology on purpose. The pseudo groups, which I appreciate that term, Amanda, have tried to stomp you guys. And I'm speaking as a consumer for everybody that doesn't know any better in the group or on the podcast, that I found something that doesn't allow me to smoke anymore. It just stopped me from smoking, and I was like, holy crap. So I thought in 2013, I wasn't on Twitter and I wasn't on Facebook for this at all. And I thought, this is a good idea. I should start a business. And I'd already had one that failed and bankrupted me. And I knew about the FDA, and I didn't know shit, and I didn't know anybody. And I thought, man, that's a scary thing, just looking at what I was looking at. So the bravery that you guys have, and I'm talking about Fig, and I'm talking about you, Amanda, and I'm talking about Mark, and I'm talking about everybody else in the room, Skip, all these people who I love and admire have had their asses reamed by literally everybody, including yourselves. So the unity thing, the word unity to me is kind of a new facet of life for the vaping industry in general. If you can help one another, why the fuck wouldn't you help one another? So I know there's going to be outliers, and I know there's going to be people that are just dicks, and that's fine. You'll have to deal with it. But to do what you guys do and to bring a product to a smoker like me who never intended to quit and just went, the patches and gums don't work, they're junk. I never, ever, ever thought I would accidentally stop smoking. So that's who you're fighting for now. And then, like Patrick says, I'm going to steal his line or try to steal it. I want you to, Amanda, your husband is with you, and I understand that, but the people that are by themselves and their spouse isn't really doing it with you specifically, kiss your spouse, kiss your kids, kiss your mom if she's still around, and your dad. And all those people are also in this line of thank yous that you have to remember that. I know you guys are in a buzz. You're in a forest right now, and all the trees are going by you. You can relax a little bit, say thank you and I love you to the ones that mean it. Patrick and I are going to be here every week forever, and we're going to bring awesome people like Amanda on, and we're going to turn what can or cannot be eventually into, okay, go talk to this person and you can get that from here. And then the smokers are going to be out in the wind, and you're going to have to find them, and they're going to have to find you if this doesn't work. So either way, we're not moving. We're not budging. We're not going anywhere. And I like the idea that you guys stood up for yourselves after all the years of badgering and just getting fucked. Absolutely, that's the last drink word. So thank you guys for all that you've done and do and continue to do with each other, and supporting each other is important. So thank you guys.
Thanks, Kev.
I really want this to kind of get through the thickness of the skulls. Governor DeSantis did an amazing thing this week. And when something good happens, yes, we should celebrate, we should party, we should go woohoo, do all those things. But when he did what he did paint a target on himself. So, he did that thing for us. And, hopefully other politicians will finally open their eyes to the reality of what we really are, and not what the body part groups and the public health corporations. I don't call them public health organizations. I don't call them public health associations. These are public health corporations that have monetized misinformation to tell lies about vaping in this particular case. But I'm going to throw a tweet on screen, and I want everybody to realize that just because a governor did a good thing for us, we're not done, because This is a person in Florida Congress, and she said, "I am disappointed to see the governor's decision to veto SB 810 that addressed the vaping epidemic amongst our children," which is bullshit, because it was already illegal for children to possess vaping products. And a T21 bill, if this had been a clean T21 bill, Florida Smoke Free would have supported it. But this was not, and will never be a clean tobacco 21 bill. This was a flavor ban bill. So SB 810 had broad bipartisan support and endorsement of public health professionals on the front lines battling COVID-19. Okay, so for one thing, this has nothing to do with COVID-19.
Yep.
So this particular politician wants to be disingenuous and misrepresent what the bill is, but she's now going to be gunning for Governor DeSantis. I mean, this is going to be a talking point for the next election cycle, and she's going to say, hey, Governor DeSantis doesn't care about your kids because he vetoed the bill that would have kept vaping out of our children's hands. So we have to realize he went out on a limb for us. And I say us, I mean vapors in general. I'm not in Florida. Amanda's not in Florida. Kevin's not in Florida. There might be somebody in the chat room that's from Florida. But that letter is so powerful that is going to be in every vaping advocate's binder of useful information to take to politicians, because he did hit every one of those points. So if you're in Florida, you definitely need to support Governor DeSantis with money, because every politician only sees people as money or votes. So you need money and votes. You need to vote for his ass. If he's running for re-election, and whenever he's up for re-election, you need to say positive things about him as much as possible. You need to get on Twitter and say, thank you, Governor DeSantis. If you're not in Florida, you should be saying, thank you, Governor DeSantis, for recognizing the harm reduction potential of these products. I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, if you're green, purple, yellow, whatever party affiliation you are. This guy, whether he's the party you like or not, he did the right thing. We're talking about, Amanda said how we're a diverse group and everybody works together. We're a big family and everybody, we're only good when we're together. So that goes for your political persuasions. I keep seeing people say, oh, this is a Republican versus Democrat thing. It is not a Republican versus Democrat thing. I've seen Republicans author and champion anti-vaping bills. I've seen Democrats author and champion anti-vaping bills. It is not that black and white. So you have smart Republicans and you have smart Democrats. The smart Republicans and smart Democrats will read the science, will listen to your voices and make the right decisions. The dumbasses on both sides will make the wrong decisions. So we need to quit drawing that fucking line, for one thing. Obviously, and we've said it before, we've said it on this show multiple times. When you find a Democrat that's willing to listen to you, the differences in what you say to a Republican versus a Democrat will affect the way they respond to this topic. Of course, with the Republicans, you can say freedom and liberty and blah, 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 and small business and blah, blah, blah. With the Democrats, you have to really focus on the fact that this is helpful to helping people get off of combustible cigarettes. This is helpful as a tobacco harm reduction tool. They love harm reduction tools. They love clean injection sites. They love needle exchanges. They love condoms and all that other stuff. You just have to tailor your message for your audience. You have to make sure that what you're saying to those people are important. Because if we ignore 50% of the electorate because they're a Democrat, If we don't reach out and engage those people with relevant information that will help them make the choice that they need to make, we're never fucking gonna win. Ever. We're a divided country. We have to figure out a way to bring that shit together. If we don't work together, we don't work at all. It's ridiculous that we're still 10 years into this and we're still using the same talking points that we've used since the beginning. We've got a lot of shit to do. I mean, obviously the business owners are going to be doing the business owner stuff. They're going to be working on their PMTAs. The vapors should be supporting the businesses that make a product that keeps them off of cigarettes. You know, obviously it would be helpful if you're supporting the businesses that support advocacy. That's a very important thing. The people that are paying into the trade groups that are going to the Capitol and fighting, those people still need your business. This PMTA thing is expensive. It's going to cost money, and we need to support the businesses that are doing the right things. But we also need to make sure that there is something left on the shelf for the smoker. This is not just a cut and dry, one solution problem. We've got battles in every state. We've got battles. We're going to continue to have battles in every county and city in the United States. FDA is going to do their thing, but we still got prohibitionists and nanny staters and people that want to be your mommy in every fucking city, county, and state in this country. So, you know, be careful, enjoy, and be happy that we've had the victories this week that we've had. We need to, you know, lament Chicago. Obviously, we need to lament California. It just needs to you know, I'm sorry, but we might have to take it out behind the barn and shoot it. But, you know, California is California. But yeah, I feel bad for everybody in California that vapes and can't get what they want. I feel bad for the people in Chicago that are now seeing that, you know, people don't really care about their choices, that what they want. Obviously, this youth tobacco survey thing, it just proves the fact of what we've been saying the whole time. You know, we talked about, somebody tweeted last week that 8,000 kids are becoming nicotine addicts every day. I mean, somebody's Lung Association says that 8,000 kids every day, and the numbers in this youth tobacco survey.
We're going to run out of kids.
The youth tobacco survey, those numbers were done and gathered, and the surveillance was all done prior to COVID. So if the numbers were already going, if the number was already going down, if we believe the youth tobacco survey and there's fewer kids vaping now than last year, those numbers were gathered before COVID. So God knows, with all these kids that have been locked down, the numbers got to be even less, unless parents ain't doing their fucking job. I don't know. I said last week, I really don't understand where they're going to get that 8,000 number if all these kids are supposedly somehow bootlegging this shit under their parents' noses. But I'm just happy that everybody's here. God knows all those people that put in their PMTAs busted their fucking balls. They should be patted on the back. Congratulations. Let's hope that there's a way to get to the next step, and then the step after that, and then finally you get the letter, because that's the goal, is to be here for the smokers. If there's no hope, then we're still going to fucking fight. I don't give a damn. If FDA came out tomorrow and said, we're not going to approve any of this shit, we're fucking still going to save smokers. We're going to do everything possible to make sure that everybody I pass on the street, I'm going to be handing them a fucking Ego and a CE4 and some e-liquid. I'm going to do everything possible to prevent that 480,000 people that die every year. We're going to be doing, we've been flying the pirate flag. If we have to fucking run the black market out of, this computer, we're going to fucking do it. I literally don't care. What are they going to do to me? I don't have any money. You can't take it from me. I mean, literally. So we're going to save smokers. Let's hope FDA doesn't come out tomorrow and say we're not going to take any of these applications. But I'm just telling you, we're here for the long haul, and we're here to save smokers. So y'all be good. Kevin said all my good things that I was going to say. So I'm not going to say them this week because Kevin said them. So have a good weekend. Barbecue, do whatever it is that you do. I think football might be on. I can't tell anymore. I know basketball's supposedly on, but do whatever it is that you enjoy, because Monday, well, unless you're Amanda and you're going to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or Char, have fun this weekend, because Monday the fucking war rages, and you know, you need to be charged up. You need to make sure your battery's full. Don't run around on E all the time. So anyway, y'all have a good weekend. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Scott and Skip and Leanna and Char and Tom and Keith and Paul, and I already said Tom, and Char and Fig and Logan in Periscope and Kevin and all the other people that have been in the show tonight. Love you guys. Be good. And we'll be back in 7 if nothing happens. And we don't, we did a pop-up show this week that was unscheduled, but we're going to be here. So y'all have a good night.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
We're exporting a whole lot of really bad and dangerous rhetoric, bad research, and unfortunately it's being picked up and amplified in other countries.
It's the same battle, Mr.
Hey, Amanda.
Hi.
Was there something that you wanted to say? I just read the private chat.
Back now?
Yeah, we just came back because I just read the private chat.
I forgot about something. So there's something I want to promote very specifically right now, if anybody's still on. Rocky Mountain Smoke Free Alliance, our Colorado state group, is doing something new for the first time that we have never done before, which we are holding a fundraising meet and greet event with a political candidate who's going to come talk to us about her views on vape and, all of that sort of thing, and answer questions from, attendees and whatnot. Greg Connolly is going to come speak at this event. It's all on Zoom because it's 2020 and we do everything on Zoom now, which is kind of nice because it opens it up to, anybody that might want to attend.
And nobody will try to hug Greg.
Right. It's a fundraiser, so there's a $200 suggested donation, but any donations are greatly appreciated. I don't know how to share this in the chat comments because I don't think I can post a picture, but it's on my timeline.
Yeah, you can't share a
it's
picture.
Monday at 5 o'clock Colorado time, which is 7 Eastern time. Yes. So, if anybody would like to come see how our first attempt at hosting a candidate for a political fundraiser goes, it should be a good event. It should be really interesting. And I frankly am excited because every time we do something new, I'm always excited. And it's a new thing for us. And so anybody that wants to come show support to a political candidate that has been kind to vaping in Colorado, you come join us for that. I'll send you the Zoom link for it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
If anybody's interested, just send me a message on Facebook and I'll send you the information on it.
Okay. So you're not going to put anything else in the private chat before I play the outro again?
No. But I appreciate the fact that you saw that and you came out of the outro for like the encore, right? So
that's
never happened.
That has never happened, but for you, I did it. So again, everybody have a good weekend, and we're out for real this time.
Good night.
Later. Bye.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
We're exporting a whole lot of really bad and dangerous rhetoric, bad research, and unfortunately it's being picked up and amplified in other countries.
It's the same battle, Mr. Myers. We've been at it before. They want to addict these kids, this time to an e-cigarette, which has a chemical that's addictive. We know what it leads to. Sadly, it leads to tobacco addiction, disease, and death.
I'm going to get you addicted to nicotine. I have a customer for life. We have hundreds of cases nationwide where people have gotten sick or died using these devices.
Look what they're trying to do. All the delicious flavors of e-cigarettes are poison.
They're not people giving up smoking. They're not people that ever smoked before. Most people that vape never smoked before. Just think if your kid was doing this and winds up with an IQ 10 or 15 points lower than he or she would have had for the rest of her life.
Most people who vape are current or former smokers. Legally, e-cigarettes are tobacco products. For the addicted adult smoker who switches, there's going to likely be a reduction in risk.
Addiction is being fueled by kid-friendly flavors and kid-friendly cool marketing. It is outrageous that these companies specifically market their bad products to kids.
There is a moral panic over it.
There is a moral panic,
and they can't find anything wrong with it, so they're hell-bent to find something.
We're worried that, in fact, a lot of members of the public still think that using an e-cigarette is as harmful as smoking a cigarette. So, I mean, I have said that it would be tragic if smokers didn't quit and carried on smoking because they hadn't tried an e-cigarette, because they were worried about the safety of an e-cigarette.
The most disheartening thing is still the anti-choice rhetoric, the desire to enforce this quit or die mentality and refuse to allow individuals to reduce their risk unless they're willing to give up everything.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.